Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Back Yourself podcast. Hussein here with my brother from another mother, Christopher, for your entertainment. The season's over, but the work doesn't stop here at the Back Yourself podcast. We're here to talk about Tonga and Samoa, bro. Lol jokes, no team list, none of that rubbish. We are here to review every single NRL's team's 2025 season for your entertainment. And I know a lot of you have dropped off from listening to this podcast because your team has been eliminated at some stage, but there's no excuses. Tune in, enjoy the ride, and appreciate the objective measures that we review your team's performance, because that's what we do here on the Back Yourself podcast. I've been excited for this podcast personally for about 2 months, Chris, especially at the point that certain teams were eliminated and we weren't able to talk about them again, a la Knights, a la Souths. And here we are. How are you feeling, Chris? Are you as excited as I am?
I'm very excited. I'm excited for the Pacific Championships. I can't wait.
I can't wait to watch Tonga.
Didn't Haas play for Tonga?
Samoa. Tonga's team, fuck me. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that.
We don't care. We're talking about real footy. What happened?
Absolutely. And obviously, some teams did better than others, but this is not just a review of the ladder of, they came second, so they deserve a B. And this team came 15th, and they deserve a C. No, we're going to be going based on preseason expectations, performance throughout the year. Did this team underachieve, overachieve, yada, yada, yada. And I've built a criteria for every team for everyone's entertainment, and we will be both giving our perspectives on the following criteria. A letter grading, so anywhere from an F to an A+ of how well they did in season 2025. MVP, self-explanatory, most valuable player across the season. LVP, least valuable player across the season. Most impressive win by the team. Most embarrassing loss by the team. What stood out most? What was the narrative of their season? Was there a flashpoint moment that defined their year? And their record against the spread for all my punters out there. How does that sound to you, my friend?
Sounds good, mate. I'm ready. I'm completely off script. You're on script.
I've got notes. Your notes are all over here.
Right here. I've already got that.
I'm expecting a lot of authenticity of you. You're going to laugh at my LVP as well, because you probably won't guess it. But as a perfect transition into the Brisbane Broncos, who were your 2025 premiers, defeating the Storm in the grand final. A very topsy-turvy, up-and-down season for this team. But, in my opinion, every team goes out there with the goal to win the premiership at the end of the day, and whoever does that, you can say mission accomplished. And for that reason, I give them an A+ on the 2025 season. My MVP is no other than Reece Lightning. He was the best. And when he wasn't good, this team wasn't good either, so that's by default. LVP, I went with Selwyn Cobbo because he was made out to be the next coming of GI, and halfway through, he quit on the team and essentially signed with Dolphins for no reason when we didn't see him again. Most impressive win, I have their win against Penrith in the prelim, because they ended the dynasty of this team.
Okay.
And I think their performance was actually more impressive than the one against Melbourne, because Penrith actually played pretty good and they still beat them. What stood out to me most? Sorry, their worst loss. I can't go past 34-6 to Manly. I mean, at that point, of the season where Origin round, Haas and Carrigan backed up for you on Origin round just for them to give up. It was something new in my eyes. What stood out most about this team was the grit that Madge instilled in this club. It took a while to get going, but towards the pointy end of the season, they showed a different side of the team that we hadn't seen under the regime of Kevin Walters, who was he actually the coach or just one of the boys in hindsight? And the record against the spread ended up being 16-11 because these morons covered the last 7 in a row.
Fair enough.
So over to you, Chris. What is your letter grade for the Broncos?
Letter grade, I'm going to give them B+. Parts of the season were absolutely atrocious. Obviously ended with an absolute bang. I think they led the whole final series for 30 minutes total.
Wow.
Which is unheard of, but they deserve a B+ for that. But their start of the season was just fucking awful, especially that Manly game, which is going to be hard for me to get around.
Your MVP?
My MVP has to be Reece Walsh. Without him, they can't score. We said it last year and we say it again. Wow, he was electric in the final series and through the regular season from that 8-week stretch. That's really all we really need to talk about, Brisbane.
Yep. LVP?
My one, you'll never guess. Kevin Walters.
Wow, okay.
Simply because the team looked like his team until the 8 weeks started. And then it looked like Madge's team. And that's how good Madge is compared to Kevin Walters.
Absolutely, that's hard to go against. Your most impressive win?
I'm going to say the Raiders game. Without that, you probably lose to Sharks the week after, so you guys are going out on straight sets.
Their worst loss?
Oh, well, I can't go past Manly. The fact they backed up and they absolutely got hammered by Manly for no reason whatsoever was just up there.
Was that loss worse than the Dragons one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was just nonsensical. We're just going to lose. Fuck it.
What stood out to you most about this team?
Well, the ability to score points in such a quick manner. I mean, we all talk about throughout most of the season, okay, the modern day sport is you can score points very quickly with the new 6 again laws, and none of you motherfuckers can do it properly. I mean, how many teams have we seen go for 20 minutes being unable to score or build pressure or anything, where Brisbane in the last 8 weeks have just been untouchable and have that explosive power offensively? And it's not even Madge. Like, I think Madge instilled a lot of, let's just make sure we're in the game for that to happen. And that was the beauty that didn't happen at the start of the season. That's why you're not an A for me. At the start of the season, that 20 minutes that we saw in all 3 finals games was there. It's just the other 60 minutes, you guys let in 40 points. And, you can't catch that. And yet, in some times, you did. The Sharks game, where you guys absolutely went nuts. The Cowboys game, which you also went nuts. But you conceded 30-plus points in both those games. So, look, it happens. But what Madge instilled in the last 8 weeks was some goal line defense, some resilience, waiting for that to happen. And that 20 minutes is the most impressive for me. No team has been able to undo what you did. That's why you won the grand final. For 20 minutes, you're untouchable, mainly because of how good Walsh has been. Like I said in the review of the whole grand final, he's probably the best player in the world right now. And he's just untouchable at fullback. Anything he does, the way he's hitting the line, the strength he has, which is Mark insane Henry for such a small player, and his ability to pass the ball has just surpassed anyone. But Brisbane themselves weren't great at the start of the season. They always had this offensive ability. It's just it wasn't there. And the fact that they're able to keep that and turn up the defense to keep teams off their line and only concede, 14 and 22 and 0 in the second half in both the most important finals games of your season, that's impressive to me. So shout out to Madge, something Kevy couldn't ever figure out with these boys, which he had a better team and he didn't win the grand final. So
yeah. I think most would forget how insane that 2023 team was talent-wise. But look, it was an interesting year. I think obviously preseason expectation was that they were genuine premiership contenders. They were favoured to make the top 4. What Madge was perceived to instill into the team was something that they were lacking a lot, and probably their Achilles heel over the last 2 years, particularly last year where they missed the 8 for no reason once again. And we saw them hit the ground running in week 1, and to put 50 points on a Roosters team in week 1 was something that caught the attention of a lot of footy fans across the league of, they've arrived, holy shit, Madge is here. But hilariously, even on the review part of that round 1 performance, me and you came on, particularly you, and you were like, okay, well, they scored 50, but that doesn't actually teach us anything about this team. They've scored 50 plenty other times. What would they show us when they run into a team that's actually matching them on the day? And literally the next week, they gave up to Raiders and just got absolutely manhandled. Didn't look anything like the side that scored 50 the week prior. And this was the story of their season for up until, I want to say, when did they actually wake up? Maybe in the Sharks game. But even then, did they really play for 80 minutes? No. But
it was the end. It was just literally the finals where they played it.
The mid-season slump that they went on, where in Magic Round they got destroyed by Penrith and they lost to Dragons and they lost to Manly and all those games in convincing fashion as well.
That was
truly, up until the point where they went on that 5-game win streak before they gave up to Parra was... I don't think anybody at that point of the year thought that they will not only make the top 4, but end up winning the premiership, because they had no identity of a premiership winning outfit. Not only were they not defending and they were playing like morons, but even the high-powered offense wasn't there. They went to Manly and scored 6 points, for God's sake.
Yep.
And Reece wasn't healthy. Ezra was out suspended and then injured, and then Reynolds got suspended. But even in that Storm game where they went to Melbourne and lost 22-2, I thought at that point in the season where Melbourne was dismantling everyone, Brisbane went and actually hung in with them for 30 minutes and looked like they were about to break him, up until the infamous pick 6 where Ezra and the Reynolds got sniped from the crowd. Officially, everybody put a pencil through them, but the week after when they beat Dolphins, I think that's when Reece really stood up and announced himself of, I'm here and I'm ready to put this team on my back. And as much as credit we want to give Madge, and as much credit as we want to give the club and the team for not giving up in those moments that I'll allude to them shortly, but truly at the end of the day, the only reason that they were even able to come back from any deficit in their miserable lives was the ability of not their offense, because I didn't see anyone do anything that wasn't involved with Reece. And even in the look at that Raiders game. All 4 tries was just Reece doing something. That grand final was, if it wasn't Reece running through the entire heart of the Melbourne Storm in the middle of the park, it was him popping up and doing a cutout to Shibasaki or Mariner, and that's the only reason they scored any points. So I can't even say it's their offense. How much credit can you give Reynolds and Hunt and Mam?
No.
Really not much. All of the lion's share of the pie goes to Reece. And as you said, them being able to defend for once in the club's history was definitely the fingerprints of Mads over this club. And for that reason, I gave him an A+, because they went through a gauntlet when the semi-finals came around at Canberra, home to Penrith, and then against a very rested Melbourne team with 2 days extra of big chillin'. It's a flawless finals resume at the end of the day when you look at the results. And do they have some question marks going into next year as far as their halves, both being 36 and injury prone? Absolutely. Can I pencil them in to now go on a dynastic run like Penrith have? I don't think I can.
Nah.
And how consistent can Reece play like this? It's not reasonable to expect him to play this good every week. And the weeks that he doesn't play good, what is this team capable of? But as far as the reviewing of 2025, I thought they had a cracking finals run. And when you hoist the premiership at the end of the day, that's what you play for. And that's why I gave him an A+.
Fair enough.
Any other comments on the Brisbane?
No, just congratulations. I just don't think this is going to be a dynasty. But we're not going to get something like Penrith ever again. So we've got to always think different, Willie. I think they opened as favourites to win next year's premiership.
Brisbane have, yeah.
But obviously that will change depending on Hunt and Reynolds' decision for next year. So, look, they did their job. They signed Hunt, especially for Hunt. Like, coming to Brisbane, winning a premiership is huge for him. So I think he has one more year in the legs. I don't know about Reynolds. Like, I feel like the injuries are catching up with him.
I agree with you. If I was Adam Reynolds, I'd be like, why the fuck would I go out there again?
Yeah, what's the point anymore?
Sure. Anyway, moving on to their grand final victims. The Melbourne Storm in 2025 is a copy-paste of 2024. They go all the way to the grand final. They lead the grand final. And then once they fall short, they don't score again, really, is what happened to this team. My letter grade rating for this team, I'm giving them a B-. You do get credit for finishing second and making the grand final. I can't give you anything less than a B-, but I don't think every grand final appearance is equal. If the Sharks made the grand final and lost, I'll probably give them an A+. But for you guys, being prohibited favourites for the entire season and being up 22-12 and then giving up, I can't give you anything higher than a B-. My MVP, I had Eli Katoa because he's the only player that played good every single week from start to finish, including the grand final. My LVP was Nelson because when he was there, when was he not hitting someone in the head? And he wasn't there half the time because he kept hitting people in the head. The most impressive win for me was when they ended the 9-game win streak of Penrith when Pappy and Hughes didn't play. 100%. They legit ran out there with no one and beat them. Their worst loss was, again, grand final to Brisbane. There's no reason for you cunts to lose that game. Wake up to yourselves. What stood out to me was, of the 27 games they played, I didn't see them play for 8 minutes one time. And that was really the story of their season, including the grand final. Never strung together just 80 minutes of sheer relentlessness that they're capable of. And I think that's a very big concern of mine going forward with these idiots. Coming off already a grand final loss the year prior. And their record against the spread ends up being 12-15. So they were not even profitable, even though they made the grand final. What do you think, Chris? What was your letter grade rating for this team?
I'm going to go B- as well. Made the grand final, but same garbage with these cunts. Lose the grand final just really stupidly. MVP. You know what? For how much shit he cops, and especially from us, Harry Grant, I'm going to give it to him. I thought even when he wasn't there, it was very noticeable. Those periods with Garlic, he was awful.
Awful. Yeah.
And then the end of the year, especially that loss to Brisbane, like you could see the difference that they played in the grand final where they did beat them until the last 20 minutes in that second half. So Harry Grant,
respect it.
LVP. Sorry, but I'm going to stick with the coaches. I'm going to say
Bellamy. I knew you'd say that. He let him down, did he, mate? In your opinion?
Just the preparation just wasn't there, in my opinion, but we'll get to that.
Most impressive win?
Most impressive win. That Penrith game, no one thought they would win with no one. So
someone thought they'd win, mate.
Yeah, I did. I took them as upset alert, but wow, they were absolutely taken out. And worst loss. You know what? There was a few. That was that Dragons game for no reason. But it was no reason.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually,
Man,
you guys could have played. You guys could have come first. That Raiders game.
Yeah.
That was bad. Like
The Magic Round
the
one.
Magic Round one. Was,
But I feel like they lost to bullshit in that game. I
yeah,
was
but
going
they lost
pick
to
it, but-
themselves as per usual. So
Un-Melbourne like, you're right.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into it. I mean,
what was the story of their
the
season?
story of the
in
year
your
is
opinion?
pretty simple. I mean, they're the best team. From February, we said they're the best team. They were the best team until halftime in the grand final. And if anyone that sat there and literally thought, oh, yeah, Brisbane's just going to come back, in your heart, you kind of knew that these cunts are going to fuck it up. Like, Melbourne is going to win this game. They were just better than them in the first half. And like I said in the grand final preview as well, is that we've seen questionable defense from Brisbane. And if they let that happen against Melbourne, they will concede. And sure did. They did. And if it wasn't for Walsh brilliance at the end of the first half to make it 22-12, you would have been down 22-6 going into halftime. And that would have been something else. Obviously, we saw them come back and they could have caught that total. It would have been 20. It would have been 22 all, hypothetically, whatever. I understand that. But at halftime, I don't think there was one person sitting there. Yeah, there were a few people that took Brisbane live for the story. You know, they always come back, blah, blah. But you sat there and we literally thought, Melbourne's going to win this.
Finish.
So I feel like I can do the same analysis as I did for Brisbane not too long ago, in the sense of, Brisbane made the grand final, were the best team in 2023 until 15 minutes to go. And they were the best team in 2023 until 15 minutes to go. 15 minutes to go came and fuck knows. I mean, this team didn't try the whole year, didn't need to, in my opinion. They had the best team on paper. They had the best stars incoming. It doesn't matter how many injuries they had. They just filled in their spots. A team that you could take Pappy out, put Failongo in, take Munster out, put Wishart in, take Hughes out, put Peasant in, take Garlic out and take Grant out and put Garlic in, and a team that would still probably beat fucking Knights and Tigers and Cowboys and all these bums. Like, the team is great. Yes, it isn't the 2020 team, which is untouchable. A lot of people forget how great that team was that they had to beat Penrith in, and it seems like they need a team like that. Were they close in the grand final? Yes, but still at the end of the day, a disappointing season. Not something that Bellamy wants to see, and I'm sure he's sick of doing 1-year contracts every 2 seconds, trying to get a win and then fuck off. So, that's really it. That's all I can really say. Let's see what happens next year. It seems like, inside information, there's going to be a shake-up, and it seems like it's going to be Pappy. You have to change something, and I feel like it has to be something for a salary cap dump to get it forward, and I feel like that's the only way. And at the moment, it seems like Pappy. Obviously, everyone's going to say Munster is old, is this, is that, but Pappy's what's in the news right now, and I'm sure a lot of teams want a fullback like Pappenhausen, and especially when you have a replacement like Failongo, who, he's young and he does dumb things, but he's dynamic, and I'm sure a lot of clubs would love to have him by their side. So I feel like that's the shake-up they need. They need that extra forward. For whatever reason, Stefano and Katoa, who are fantastic forwards, maybe the best second row in the comp, and Stefano hasn't let himself down this year. He absolutely had a killer year coming from Tigers to Melbourne, but it still wasn't enough, and you really need to change something. So it has to be the spine. You've tried everything else, and it hasn't worked, so it's got to be the spine this time around. Yeah,
when I look back at the year, it was very interesting because obviously we had the preseason conception of this team that no one is going to beat them on their best day, and it doesn't take much for them to beat probably 80% of the league. Yeah. And we said that knowing that was the case, but also not being of the mindset that they're just going to play to that strength for the entire season. And even in the games that they did win 60-0, 50-0, it didn't really look on screen like how it has in previous iterations of Melbourne. And I think a lot of their flaws came out in their losses, where Melbourne, for the past 20 years under Craig Bellamy, have had a very particular perception that they don't blow leads, they don't lose to themselves, they don't play with ill discipline, and they play with sheer effort for 80 minutes. And even in their most recent grand final win in 2020, sure, the offense was fucking something ballistic, Because once the six again got introduced into the league, everyone was like, oh, Melbourne can't wrestle anymore. Now they're going to not be so good. When in reality, they just started winning 50-0 every week. But the nil was the impressive part about them, right? When Penrith were in the grand final and threw everything they could out of them for the first 30 minutes of the game, the reason that they were able to lead by so much is because they didn't allow Penrith to score. But when those sort of situations arose in this year, in the Raiders game at Magic Round, like, when have you seen a Melbourne team with Stefano and Trent Liero get fucking penalised 10 times in a situation that Pappy's kicked the game-winning field goal, but, oh no, we have to come back because Trent Liero's hit someone in the head in the ruck. And
happen.
like, that sort of shit just never really got buttoned up throughout the season. And that Melbourne team that we fell in love with they literally will never blow a halftime double-digit lead. In the most important time where they couldn't blow a halftime double-digit lead, they did exactly that. And the same way we screamed at Adam Reynolds in 2023 when they were up 14 points with 20 minutes to go of, why are you not kicking to a corner and just holding the team in the opposite end, and why are you guys throwing the footy around and knocking it on? These pricks lost this grand final the exact same way, right? We said coming out of halftime, okay, you're 15 out of 16 completion percentage. All you have to do is not give Broncos good ball, knowing that they can score, and you'll be all right. And they came out, what were they, 7 of 14? The one thing you couldn't do, you came out and did. You didn't defend your errors at all, and then you didn't try and get back in the game through a 40-20 attempt or a kick on third, and everyone goes down there and chases. Instead, you threw the footy around, and you couldn't even go around Willison and co and score. So, like you said, is the shake-up coming next year? Does it really matter in my mind of, Pappy wasn't there, and instead of Trent Liero, they have Cameron McInnes, and Farlongo's playing fullback. Does that make a difference?
Yeah.
They'd probably lose the same way.
But McInnes is not the answer will be Tino. The answer will be someone like that. And Tino has been talked about as well in Melbourne. So
no, I don't know.
If you get Tino...
Okay, well, sure. If you get the Australian front rower, okay.
Well, that's what they need, clearly. And that's what Pappy is not going to be. Pappy's a big dent in their salary cap right now. Getting rid of him is not going to be... you can get a forward like that if available. So... McKinnon, I think what you're saying is they're going to get rid of Pappy and replace him with something mediocre or that's usually what happens. But I trust the Melbourne front office at least to actually make the right signings like they've done this whole time to build this team.
No, I agree with you, but the point I'm thinking, and my rationale is around this, is what was the reason they lost these important games? What was the reason they lost the grand final?
Well, you have to...
Was it that their forwards weren't good enough? I don't think so. Was it that they played the wrong way?
Roll down the field in the second half. But then they ended up rolling down the field for the last 20. Right? You know what's incredible?
The cunts couldn't score.
What's incredible is we have to analyse Melbourne, extrapolate literally 20 minutes of their season, and be like, that was the problem, and that's why they lost. What other part of the season did you ever think these cunts were going to lose the grand final? Never. Okay,
I guess what bothered me was Bellamy has always been big on finishing the year well, and they might have peaked a little bit too early. All those weeks we kept coming on and being like, oh, well, they're playing Penrith without Hughes, they should lose. They're playing Brisbane without Hughes, they should lose. They're playing Roosters without Hughes, they should lose. And they won all of them. Then it was like, all right, we'll rest half our team in the second last week.
Yeah.
Marky Mark scored 50 tries, and everyone's like, oh, Bellamy's going to be so pissed. Now he's going to name anyone. They're going to go to Suncorp and rape Brisbane.
And
they named everyone, and they legit got destroyed by Walsh. And it's like, well, okay. Oh, okay. Now Dogs are coming to town, and they suck ass. Yeah. With 30 seconds to go, they could have fucking lost the Bulldogs. And then it's like, oh, okay, no, all good. Now Pappy will come back with Hughes and offer extended rest and everything. They're going to destroy Sharks. You should go lay 9.5 with them, which you were like, no, you should take Sharks. In the end, did they deserve to cover 8.5 against Sharks? No. Did they deserve to cover 8.5 against Dogs? No. Did they deserve to cover 2.5 against Brisbane? No, and they didn't either. So from what they were perceived to be, not only by the public, not only by us, but by the bookies as well, they really fell flat in every single game of the last 5 weeks.
What we're looking at is from a betting perspective. Did they genuinely look like losing any of those games? And I would say no. Brisbane, yeah. As soon as Hughes went down, it was always going to be an uphill battle. Did they look like losing against Dogs? No. Did they look like losing against Sharks? No. Did they look like losing to Raiders? No. Did they look like losing to Penrith when they beat them with no one? No. They look like they're going to win? No.
Okay.
Did they look like they were in the game the whole time?
I'll play devil's advocate because what you're saying is true, but did they look like blowing out Dogs at any point?
No. Well, that's the point, right? But last year, and we'll say this, last year, they did blow out certain teams, and we were sitting here being like, oh, fuck, Melbourne. Notably, Anzac Day, when they dismantled South 2 years ago.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And that was like something that was like, we didn't see once this year.
Yeah.
But who cares? Because they kept fucking winning. And that's the point, right? Like, we've seen once that they're gone out, destroyed everyone because they decided to try, and they didn't win the grand final. But I would say that grand final in particular, I don't think they played bad. They just ran into a Penrith team, which you can't score against.
Yeah.
Sure. Do I think you guys should score? Yeah, of course. I said that last year as well. This year was like, we'll play shit for 20 minutes and our whole season's fucked.
Yeah.
And, like, to be honest, yes, there is signs. Okay, they should have blown out Dogs. Yes, they should have blown out Sharks. Yes, they should have kept it close with Brisbane even without Hughes. I get that. But throughout the whole year, I think it's more blindsided than anything else because they won every game. They came second, and we sat here and we're like, they haven't tried more than 20 minutes any of these games.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have to go out and say, okay, look, all right, Melbourne, you're not that good. But they are. That's the problem. They are.
Okay.
And that's why they were there.
I guess my point is, when we're saying they are that good, when you look at last year, we can be like, they beat Sharks 50-0, who are better than this year's Dogs. They beat Roosters 50-0, which are better than this year's Sharks. They lost in the grand final to a dynastic run. I can forgive them. They didn't even particularly play bad. I thought Penrith played like insanely well. This year, it's like, well, you didn't blow out Dogs. You didn't blow out Sharks. And then Brisbane didn't even play good. You can't lost to them.
Yeah,
Where
I get that.
the narrative heading into the year was, oh, they have Stefano now. They are a better team. There wasn't a point in the season where they genuinely look like a better team than what they were last year.
But
I think that's alarming.
I genuinely believe, and you said, I mean, I don't know, you'd probably give Brisbane A anyway if they lost the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely sit here and be like, yeah, A plus, on to the next team. We have nothing to say. We said this from day one if they'd won the grand final. If they play the same first half as they did the second half, we'd sit here and be like, yeah, all right, they're the best team. There's nothing really to be said.
Well,
and that's what, like, now everyone has gone out. Yes, I agree there needs to be a change if you're going to lose a grand final. But now everyone's gone out and said, including myself, oh, what happened here? What happened here? We should have seen it at this point. But I sat here and I wanted to do this review probably. I sat back and said, no, we weren't wrong. These cunts won every game. I mean, what part of us would think in 20 minutes they'd ruin their whole season?
Yeah.
I just didn't think that would happen, but it did.
No, that's fair. But even in the midst of them getting the first half lead, to me, like, they should never, ever concede that Walsh try. What the fuck were you boys doing?
Exactly. It should have been 22-6, and then
anyway,
Brisbane would have come back.
Coming off 2 grand final losses, it's going to be interesting to see how this team goes next year.
Well, they should be favourite. Like, the bookies are just sitting on Brisbane.
As you said, it seems like there's going to be changes in some capacity. Will it be Pappy or will it be something else? We'll have to wait and see. But we move on swiftly to the back-to-back premiers that are no longer premiers because they got knocked out by the Brisbane Broncos. The Penrith Panthers had a very topsy-turvy season, more so than anybody else. Started abysmally, ended very well, but heartbreaking to lose that prelim final. My letter grade rating for this team, I'm giving them a B. They were an F for 5 weeks, an A plus for about 16, and
fair.
An A plus for about 55 minutes of the game that they ended up getting knocked out in.
Yeah.
When you win 4 premierships in a row, it's premiership or bust yet again for you guys, even though realistically you probably shouldn't have been the favourites. But
agreed.
I think they deserve to be. And the only reason it wasn't higher than that was playing Warriors and Dogs. You only get so much credit. And we go from there. MVP, again, Nathan Cleary, best player of this team for the last 6 years in a row. LVP, hilariously, I went with Jack Cole because Ivan actually went out of his way to play him and give him the starting 6 jersey over Blaze. And at the point that he was the starting 6 was their worst point in the season where they looked like dirt. So I gave it to him. Most impressive men, I still think was Magic Round against Brisbane because they were 5.5 point underdogs. Everyone thought they sucked ass and they went into Brisbane and beat them 32-8. What stood out to me most?
Well, most losses round 2.
Oh, yeah. Going to Roosters as 24.5 point favourites and losing outright to them. Could I say that was their worst loss?
Oh, yeah. Dolphins, that was bad.
The Dolphins one was just... No, actually, the Cowboys one. When Cowboys, by round 4, were also 14.5. Actually...
No, they drew, though, that one.
They lost to South.
They did lose to South with nothing.
It was 28-0 to the South Sea B-Tech team.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with that one. What stood out to me most was Probably one of the most horrific starts to a season anyone could imagine for this team. 17th by round 8. But slowly but surely, the Penrith engine started turning, and there were signs of the same garbage until Brisbane sent you cunt home. And they developed young players that are going to help them rekindle this lineup going forward. Casey McLean, Milky, Blaze, they did emerge as quality players as the season went on.
What about
and that's
Alan
what stood out to me. Their record against the spread, 14-13 to end the season. Your letter grade rating for the Penrith Panthers, Chrissy?
I'm going to give them a B+.
Very generous.
Yeah, no, I think their season was very good towards the end, and no one expected it to happen, neither did I. So fair enough to them. MVP, obviously Nathan Cleary. Without him, they're nothing. LVP, I'm going to continue my trend with the coaches. Ivan Cleary.
Wow, really? Why is that?
And I'll get, no one's going to like this, but we'll get to it a bit later. I'm just going to say Ivan Cleary for now, but it's similar to what you said, just a bit extrapolate a bit further.
Okay.
With your LVP, very similar. MVP game, most impressive. To be honest, the Dogs finals game.
Yeah.
Did I actually think you guys were going to go out there and absolutely annihilate them? No, but the fact you just tore their defense to shreds was wow.
Yeah.
And at least I'm going to say the Dolphins game. I mean, fuck me. Fuck me. The defense was just non-existent in that game, and you let Hammer score 10 tries.
Yeah.
Highlight of the season. I want to say, right at the start, absolutely written off. One of my futures bets was this game, which was them to miss the top 4, which won.
Well played. You had a great futures run.
I had a great futures run. It was just Dolphins this close. Yeah. But look, they had a good season towards the end. The start was a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I wasn't watching Penrith at that point. It was something else. And that essentially leans into my LVP. Ivan, you made the right choices at the end, but don't, the start of the season, it's fucked your season. They're going to attack me again, but I don't care. Who cares?
They might agree with you.
Because, realistically, you finish in the top 4, fuck knows. You could have won 5 in a row.
Yeah.
It's your own fault for losing those games at the start. And for my opinion, you lost those games at the start because of your own selections. Why was Jack Cole in the team? Why was Talangi so degraded? I remember one week he couldn't even play center.
Yeah.
He is a center. He's not a 5'8". He plays better at center. He played good at 5'8" towards the end, but he is a center. And he was so bad that he couldn't get a center role over Garner.
Yeah. That's how bad he was.
Look, he didn't play great in some of the games he played, but he wasn't even great when he started playing 5'8". It was when he got to the end of the year and got to finals, you were like, okay, Blaze is playing better, Blaze is playing better, Blaze is playing better. He just needed reps. And at the start of the season, you were like, nah, fuck this cunt off. And we were like, what the fuck's this cunt doing? Why is Cole starting?
Yeah.
They won.
It's not like Cole was any good either.
Cole was no good anyway.
They
won against in Vegas
Sharks,
against Sharks. We said, you know what? They're still good. Sharks are a pile of shit, blah, blah, blah. And then they won 24-point favorites, lost to Roosters, lost again.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And you don't lose 1 or 2 of those games, you could have made the top 4.
Yeah.
And fuck knows. You could have went to Raiders and won. You could have knocked Brisbane out. Brisbane could have been playing you at Bankwest Stadium.
Yeah, which they would have lost.
Which Brisbane probably lost that game. Look, there's a lot of things that could have happened, and I get it, it's ifs, but it was down to the selections of Ivan Cleary at the start of the year, because the team that we expected to run out there round 1 pre-season was with Talangi. And when Talangi was there, you look like the team from before, right? All the 4 years. Literally only Reece Walsh could knock you guys out. We don't even know if Melbourne could have done it in the grand final if it got to that point. But you refuse to do those selections at the start, and you start 1-5.
Yeah, big hole.
It's never going to be easy. Yes, you get all the praise for bringing them all the way back. Yes, they played great towards the end of the season to win 9 in a row, have trainers run across to make sure they win games. I got it. They played great. But you start 1-5 in any competition, you're already 1 foot behind, and essentially that foot behind what fucked your season. There is a lot of arguments, the second half they got tired. Look, I think they just got washed, which happened to every fucking team, first, second, and you cunts. But regardless of that, it could have been tired. You don't know. This is a 7th place team. They've played 3 finals games, had to travel to New Zealand, had to travel to Brisbane. And all to the fault of, who knows, maybe if Talangi was there, you might have won 2 more games. You could have won that draw. You could have won another game. You could have flipped and essentially made the top 4. Who knows? But because you finished 7th, it was always going to be an uphill battle. It's still impressive. It's still no team could do what you did and essentially take Brisbane all the way to the end. But you started in a hole because of your selections, in my opinion. I think Talangi should have started from the start of the year. And come the end of the year, I don't think Jack Cole's even fucking on the picture because next year it is going to be Talangi. And I feel like you missed that at the start.
No, I respect it, mate. I feel like they had a lot of drawbacks at the start of the year of our finals runs multiple years in a row and losing all these players really caught up with us. Obviously, they entered this year with no Fisher Harris, no Luai, and they were trying to fill those voids with cunts like Blaze who are awful players. But at a certain point, they did wake up to themselves, and what you said I'm not even watching Penrith was like some of the tries they were considering, especially in that Souths game, where I was like scratching my head of what the fuck has happened to this club. And I think it's a credit to Ivan and Nathan and Isaiah that they turned everything around and went on that rampage run in the middle of the season. Truly, as awful as they were to start 1-5, these cunts are probably a 10 centimeter difference of the ball going into the upright instead of hitting it and bouncing out in Mudgee for them to then probably make the top 4 anyway. And based on how the finals actually unfolded, there's no doubt in my mind that if these cunts came in the top 4, they would have won again.
Yeah, probably.
Genuinely, if it was Brisbane going to some shithole, winning, going to Sharks and winning, and then going to play Penrith, rested off a bye at fucking thing, they would lose. And if, from what I saw from Melbourne, they genuinely were lost to Penrith in the grand final again, playing like morons. Yeah. This was a team that had no home field advantage the entire season as well, which was your actual main rationale of taking them to miss the 4 at the beginning of the year. And in my eyes, some of those losses at home to Cowboys, at home to Souths, if they played those games in Bluebird, they would annihilate those teams. Yeah, 100%. So, if anything, it was a kind of kindling season for this team after losing so many players. It seemed like they lost 1 too many to start off well and play good for 27 rounds. But with Bluebet being made ready for these morons next year to go and contend for another premiership with another run of Isaiah and Cleary, and who knows how much better Blaze will be, how much better Casey McLean will be. I'm worried about what these morons are going to do next year. And after all that, for them, in my eyes, of all the teams that lost to Brisbane in the finals, they had the toughest ask of playing them in Brisbane off a bye. And I think they made the best account for themselves out of Melbourne, Penrith, and Canberra at the end of the day. So for those reasons, I give them credit, and they had a pretty good year. There's no shame in losing to a Reece Walsh fucking garbage in the 77th minute after everything. So shout out to Penrith. They continue to be a model fucking of everyone else to follow in this garbage sport.
Now it gets to the good shit.
Now it gets to the good shit, right? Because the real good teams are out of the way and the contentious ones are here. Up Cronulla, the Sharkies had a decent run in 2025. Again, unfortunately, fall short, showing that they are unable to beat Melbourne and Penrith when the going really gets tough. It was a tough ask for them to go to Melbourne after back-to-back finals wins and win. Did they play awful? No. Did they get bounced again? Yes. My letter grade rating for the Sharks is a B-, which I feel like you will think will be a bit too harsh for me to say, but that's how I feel. MVP, Blake Brayley. He was the Dally M Hooker of the Year, well-deserved. He has now been called into the Australian Test side in some capacity, which he deserved. He really made a name for himself and was their best player from start to finish. LVP, really when I looked top to bottom, no one particularly played bad in this team, but I went with Jesse Ramian because he just didn't stand out to me at all throughout the entire season, and he probably was their least impactful player in the back line, so I went with him. Most impressive win for me, I went with... It's tough. I reckon week 1 against Roosters at the end of the day was... They were underdogs at home. No one really thought they would win, and they defended their nuts off in a game that they generally would lose at different points of their run of making the top 4 and top 8 year after year. And their record against the spread was 15-12 because they covered the last 5 in a row. So the Sharkies, that was their season. What is your letter grade for the Sharkies in this one, Chrissy?
I'm going to go C+.
Wow, less than me.
They went 1 spot lower than last year. I think everyone conclusively can say Penrith came 3rd.
Sure.
They were 3rd last year, and now they finished 4th with Adam Fanua Blake. So What the fuck? MVP, Trindle.
I was thinking him as well. Fuck, he had a good year.
Without him, these can't score. And at the end, the left edge was essentially what fucked everyone in the final. So shout out to him. LVP, whoever was the other prop next to Adam Fanua-Blake, that's going to be it. It's going to be a group. Because
Oregon Kaufusi,
Rudolph, whoever fuck plays there.
Hamlin Uele.
Look, when you have a second rower who JB, like, let's say he's still a top tier second rower, which Nakora played most of the year. McInnes, who's an Origin rep level block, who played again the most of the year. Adam Fanua-Blake, who might be the best prop in the competition. Brayley, who's playing the best hook, like played the best year, and you had him as MVP. The other prop really needs to fucking stand out. Like, even Teague was standing out.
For God's sake.
And Teague's shit. Like, the forwards, he was the other prop was the only one that was just like, who the fuck's supposed to play there? And whoever plays there plays like shit. So, yeah. Most impressive win for me because I called it Sharks at home to Melbourne when no one thought they would win except for me. Most loss, you can name a million of them.
Yeah, Dragons.
That Dragons one. Yeah, Dragons, because you would have been in the top 4. And the fact you raped Dogs really didn't help the last week because you would have been in the top 4 over Brisbane, and who knows what would have happened then.
Yeah.
All right. Analysis of the season.
Sorry, I didn't do what stands out most.
What stands out the most?
I wrote impressive finals wins, but when push came to shove, same old Sharks.
Yeah, same old Sharks.
Yeah.
Should be a quick one, actually, this one, because what's there really to say? Carbon copy what I said last year. They're the ones, and I think you'll agree with me, they're the ones who need the change the most. Something needs to move.
I agree.
And it's going to be hard because they've built a team that, especially coming into this year, who the fuck are you replacing outside of our boy, and our most important player, and a player that's going to get absolutely killed most podcasts, and we obviously have said our piece with him, Nico Hines. Trindle has been playing like $1 million half and not getting paid $1 million. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Brayley, again, not getting paid $1 million, playing like $1 million hooker. Name me 3 hookers that played better than him this year. None of you cunts can probably do it. Maybe Ben Hunt. Kennedy, I feel like he was supposed to be the scapegoat, but come the end of the year, they were like, oh, fuck, this guy's actually all right.
Yeah, he played really well.
We've been defending him from day one. I remember week 1, they were like, no, we're not going to play him. I was like, fuck, just shut up.
Yeah.
Of course you got to play him. It's Hines, bro. It's Hines. He is the X factor, supposedly. He is the one that is supposed to push them further, supposed to take them to the next level, and supposed to be essentially the Walsh for that team, which sounds insane, but that's why he's there. And he can't provide that. Now, does this team still have enough to come forth? Of course. They might finish the same spot next year. This team is, on paper, might be the best. When you look at every position, you look at everyone, how they play, you're like, well, they have to be the best with everyone. But it doesn't matter. And their coaching isn't bad. I think Fitzgibbon actually had a good year. He got this team defending really well to a point that they can stop teams like Roosters or stop teams like Raiders. And Melbourne really only scored 22 points at the end of the day. That's not that much. Brisbane conceded the same. So, Brisbane conceded in one half, sorry. So, they got their defense really rolling. It's just Hines. What do you do? Fuck knows. There's really nothing you can do. The most valuable, I guess, free agent that was available that you could probably insert and then get something else was Fogarty. Obviously, he went to Manly. Atkinson leaves at the end of this year, so you're literally stuck with Hines and Trindle. This is it. Like, where Sharks will finish is probably the same spot next year, and there's not going to be much changes unless Hines takes the step of, I'm going to turn into Walsh, which...
Has he done that for one game?
I don't think that's happened. Maybe there's a chance you can unlock him by moving him to fullback and sacrificing someone like Kennedy. But if you're going to keep Hines and keep this team, I feel like you have to change something somewhere. Because if you run out the 1-17 again, we're going to end up the same thing and sitting here being like, look, they're probably a C+, because it's exactly what we expected from them. I expected them a lot more. I expected them a minor premiership this year. You add someone like Fanua-Blake, you should be there. You're not. And it comes down to your star and X-factor players. I feel like everyone else had a season. Like you said, it was hard to pick an LVP. You couldn't really say Hines. He still had like 20 try assists, but
Yeah,
he's just
he played-
not having.
he played
just
fine.
doesn't have the X factor. He just doesn't have that factor which they need him to have.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Pretty much, I think their season was set in stone in my eyes when they went to Vegas and lost to Penrith. That was their opportunity to make a statement to the NRL world. Did they play? Did they play particularly bad in that game? No, but did they do enough to convince me that they can win those games? No. And when it came down to it, did they outplay a team that's on equal leveling with them in Roosters? Yeah. Did they go to Canberra and beat them without Ethan Strange when they were shot through the heart from the previous week? And did they do it in style? Yes, they did. Did they carry that style over to Melbourne the week after in front of a Melbourne team that didn't really even play that good for this entire season? I can't say that they did. And after signing a player the caliber of Adam Fanua-Blake, you expect the team to take the next step. Okay, if my argument is they can't beat Melbourne and Penrith, sure. What was your excuse for having your worst regular season in the last 3 years? You can't actually, you came second in Hines' Dally M, without Fanua-Blake or anyone even resembling him in the middle of the park.
And nowhere near playing like this.
Yeah. Fucking Talakai was playing Origin for you morons, and now Ero's actually even better than him, and you play shitter. If I was to ask you, Chris, what's the path of Sharks making the grand final, you'd be like, well, they have to have a home final in week 1 where someone has to go to Shark Park, and they've shown, hey, like we can beat Melbourne in Shark Park. Like we did that this year. Who knows? Maybe if you play Melbourne instead of you fucking having a 6-day turnaround and Melbourne just chilling for 2 weeks, maybe if it's week 1 at Shark Park and you guys get a bye and then you play some morons like Raiders, maybe you can make the grand final. But you haven't shown to me that, oh, we can beat Roosters, we can beat Raiders, we can go and beat Melbourne. Like you said, a team like Brisbane can do that because they can look in the mirror and be like, well, Walsh can do that for us. But you haven't shown me that you have a Walsh on your side. And until you do get a Walsh on your side, unless you're going to tell me that you morons are going to be consistent enough to lift them on a premiership and then host week 1 of the finals, you're not coming from 5th place and winning this premiership. I'm sorry. And until you get either Hines to turn back to Dally M Hines or you fuck him off for Walsh, there's really nothing to talk about with you guys, so we can conveniently move on. Should I go get the milk? Or the carton's still empty after the way their season ended?
Bro.
Okay, the milk. Preseason expectations had these... Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Nothing.
Preseason expectations had these cunts as nothing. We came on the preview pod and said they are nothing.
Yeah.
For that reasoning, I'm giving them a letter grade rating of A. I can't give them an A+ because of the way they bowed out in the finals. In my opinion, when you're perceived to be the 14th best team in the league and you win 19 games and lift the minor premiership, you have to get an A of some caliber. And they did get Walshed, which in hindsight, everybody else got Walshed as well. So I can't detract too much from them, even though I'm still disgusted with how they lost that game. Their MVP across the whole season, really there was a lot of candidates because everyone had played so good. I went with Ethan Strange because he made Dally M Team of the Year in a contentious spot of 5'8", and really, when the Raiders were at their best, it was this kind of hammering teams down the left edge. The only other candidate was his boy next to him, who also was fantastic in Hudson, who was awful on Origin, conveniently. LVP, again, it was hard to do because no one really played bad, but I went with Jamal Fogarty because when they really needed a halfback to steady the ship for them, he was unable to do so in both of their finals games. Most impressive win, I went Melbourne in Magic Round. Melbourne do not get mowed down in that fashion, and the way you guys beat them in the end, down 14-4, really send a statement to the competition. I could have also gone Penrith and Mudgee, but because Penrith had lost to Melbourne the week prior, that didn't really qualify for me. Your worst loss was Brisbane. That's probably the worst loss of the season for anyone. The fashion that... The extent of UConn's getting Walsh was incredible to the levels I haven't seen before. So... In a season where you didn't lose many, I did think about doing the Cowboys game because that's still stuck in my craw.
Stuck me, yeah.
What stood out to me most? Not a star-studded roster, but they consistently played hard for Ricky and physically dominated teams all year until they got Walshed. Record against the spread 16-10. They were very profitable. Again, perceived to be dirt, but played well. Your letter grade rating for the milk?
B+.
Fair.
What a regular season, but at the end of the season, we all know the story. MVP for me... I'm going to go to the leader and the return for Origin, Josh Papali, wherever you end up, mate, like...
What a run.
I genuinely thought there was nothing in the legs, but the fact you built yourself to the level to get back into the Origin team, shout out to you. Obviously Strange and Hudson, but I'm gonna go with some peculiar ones here and there.
Very nice.
LVP, I have to take the reins and also say Jamal Fergie. I just don't like halves that organise themselves as organising halves, and
Yeah.
that was fucked. And don't worry about the Brisbane game. Just like the way you didn't bring up the troops to fucking G up for that Sharks game, regardless of what happened last week. That's enough for me. Most impressive win has to be the one in Mudgee. Yes, you got lucky, but usually Penrith get that luck. And the fact you can run the whole field and score, which is a common trait with KO Weeks on the team. And the loss, you cannot go past that Brisbane game. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say the Sharks game. Simply because it was too predictable
That you can't
would just roll over. And Sharks, like we just said their analysis 2 seconds ago, so if you missed it, go back. They weren't that good most of the year. The end probably showed how great they were, and they were at their best, their peak towards the end of the year, if you call that a peak.
The pinnacle. So.
But it doesn't mean to roll over and lose at home by 20. That's fucked. It's to a Sharks team that came
Come on, boys,
fifth, bro. Overall,
What stood out to you?
look, they were the best forward pack and it dominated for every game but 2. And they were fantastic through the middle of the park. And that's what stood out the most. Starling had a great year. Owen Paddy is going to be a star come a few more years as well.
Your boy.
Tarpany obviously was great. Hudson was fantastic. Matty Nicholson, who started the year at second row, was great. And whoever replaced him on that edge was even better. They had a great year through the pack, and that's why they just rolled through teams. I was often the one that's saying to fade them. Actually, no. Worst loss, go back that Dragons game, because I can't forget that. That was just fantastic. When they won 9 in a row and everyone thought they would win 10.
Getting that 10th one just seems too hard.
But the Raiders just capitulated. A lot of the chat is just going to be the end of the season. The whole competition got Walsh, but you guys started it. And that's what frustrates me the most.
Yeah.
Because if you just won that game up 28-12 with a sin bin in your favour, like, you probably make the grand final, most likely. I can't see a team that smokes Brisbane, goes to place Penrith, and look, puts a pack against them. Not saying just it was just Haas at the end of the day. It wasn't even Haas and Carrigan against like competition of Tarpany and Papali'i and Hudson. It's a completely different story to a Penrith team that was already tiring and at the end of their life in the finals, which we saw happening, and they had to come to you like. You probably make the grand final, if not win the grand final. And it all came down to 30 minutes. An absolute capitulation going back to old Raiders. And this is old Raiders style that they would either be in front by a mile and fuck it, or down a mile and come back and win. And it was just that situation. And I can't say too much because, look, Walsh fucked the whole league and won everything by himself. But the beginning and the early stages of it happening was that Raiders game. And you also fucked up my bracket, which would have went a long way. Tab would have to fucking start offering me cash outs to get out of that bet because it was 250 to 1. And essentially I had the prelim final locked up if you cunts had won. And it would have paid out a fucking shit ton as a cash out if I wanted to get out then. But regardless, I actually was a hater for most of the year because I just didn't think they would do it when it mattered, and they didn't. So I guess in my book, I was kind of right. Did I think you'd go out like that? No one would have predicted that ever. So it's a bit of an L, and the bigger L that I think you guys take is what's next year look like? How does this team come back without whatever Fogarty is? Yes, he's the LVP, but without a halfback, how do you recover what you did? And essentially go win 19 games again. I just don't think it's possible. Yeah. And probably my likelihood of the teams in the 8 that will drop out is probably Raiders. Sorry, guys. The milk is fucked. Like, this was a star year and an absolutely shot out of the blue outlier. I don't know if that can happen again next year.
Yeah, it was the outlier of all outliers. And the year started well. You guys looked physically fit and ready to go. And from opening night where you destroyed Warriors, I don't think people in that moment actually realised what was coming from you cunts. That we put it down to fuck me, Warriors can't score, which they can't. But
they can.
From that point forward, you backed it up the week after and destroyed Brisbane after they put 50 on Roosters. And obviously, when you're perceived to come 13th, no one's going to realised within 2 weeks that, fuck, they're actually going to win the minor premiership. Yeah. But slowly but surely, you beat Sharks, you beat Melbourne, you beat Penrith, you beat Brisbane, you beat essentially everyone. When you played the bums, you beat Parra by 50, you beat Tigers by 50, you beat fucking everyone. You are not Knights. I mean, they're hardly a team in my eyes, but slowly but surely you built a flawless resume in the regular season. And by the time your 19th win came and you kicked the feet up and gave yourselves a self-deserved bye against Dolphins where you went there and gave up and you asked the NRL, hey, we're fucking the 1 seed, so we get to play on Sunday. And we're just not being fucking favoured by whoever the fuck's making the decisions. They said, all right, here's your 4 p.m. kickoff at Canberra where you can play backyard footy. You played it. You went up 28-10, 12. Reece Walsh got fucking sin bin. Carrigan got sin bin. You had Days Cunts had 11 players. Hosking's about to score and end the Broncos season essentially, and you showed an inability to defend for 10 minutes and you gave up from that point. Hudson runs into Reece's leg, gives him an opportunity to go to Golden Point. In Golden Point, you score a try, but it's not a try, and then Hunt kicks a 50-metre field goal to end your season. Can I really be that mad at you cunts for that game unfolding? I don't think I can. Like, seeing that Melbourne got Walsh even worse than you cunts, really, in hindsight, I can't be so critical, but the critique does apply to the following week where I get it was a heartbreaking thriller in Manila, but you showed that you were unfazed by it for 55 minutes when it was 12-all, but out of nowhere, you cunts just gave up on the year and just rolled over to Sharks. Not to Penrith or Brisbane or Melbourne, to Sharks, where, come on, boys, like, you cunts are better. You can't, like, your season deserved a better ending than to give up to fucking Sharks. Come on.
100%.
And moving forward, like, I'll put a lot of money that you cunts will never win 19 games like that again.
Nah,
like, that was a snowball effect throughout the whole year where it just got better and better and better and better. And now that you will be the hunted next year, everyone is going to go to Canberra and be like, fuck, these cunts were first last year. We got to wake up to ourselves. When you go on the road every single week and going to an opposition's building, they're going to be like, fuck, we can't take them lightly. They came first last year. And that's a very different prospect than being like, oh, it's Raiders. They shit anyway.
They're going to win stadium.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? And yeah, at the end of the day, like, you get an A, you did a lot right. You have no halfback for next year. You got Walsh, then you gave up the week after. Like, there's not really much more to say.
Here we go. Oh my God! Wait. Do they deserve it?
Yeah, they're six, bro.
Every game, every team, every player. I don't know if they deserve it.
It's what the fans want.
All right.
I'm gonna drink some water. Good luck.
Shout outs to the Bulldogs. Here they come. Shout out to you, Matthew, Chris Crias, Tiam, all the boys that have been waiting eagerly for the past 3 weeks since their team got kicked out by Penrith. Shout out to Serraldo and Gus. I will get to the whole roster, but obviously there's a format that we have to follow on this podcast.
Oh, you're going to do it after?
Letter grading.
Oh, this is bad. This is where it starts getting bad.
An A+.
For what?
For 6 rounds. An F for the last 6 rounds. Equates to a C at the end of the season. You came 4th. That was better than last year. Only less than fucking 25% of the team come in the top 4, and you were one of them. You went down valiantly in Melbourne, and you went down the complete opposite of valiant against Penrith the week after, where you cunts gave up. Without getting too carried away or being too harsh and giving you some awful, despicable grading based on the Penrith game.
You're right.
I'm trying to be objective and give you a C.
You're right. Leave it to me.
MVP, there was a few candidates. Shout out to Jacob Carraz. He had a great year, but I'm going with Jacob Preston because he is the future Australian Kangaroos and New South Wales captain.
That's a good one, Chad.
LVP, for all you guys that follow the pod on a week-to-week basis, obviously you know who I'm going to go with. The man in the helmet. The man wearing the 6/3 on his back. The man that genuinely cannot ride out there at 5'8", win a premiership. Matty Burton. With the expectation on you, you were awful for 90% of this season. Most impressive win. Really, when I went through the archives, there wasn't many.
Sharks.
But there was the Sharks when you cunts went there with no players. Because that was the moment where you announced that we are the real deal. And fuck me, you were not the real deal in the end. What stood out most? Flying start with an equally awful finish for the second year in a row. Rinse and repeat of last year, where, again, you gave up to Manly, Cowboys and Manly, and then this year you gave up to Penrith. And their only win in the last 6 weeks was Enrith, not Penrith, where they played them and they were 24.5-point favourites. And even in that game, they looked awful.
I'm surprised you gave them a C, bro.
Also, confusing decisions throughout the year where Serraldo had just completely lost the plot at certain points with the whole Garland saga. Record against the spread was 12-14. You cunts weren't even profitable as a top 4 team. So, on to you, Chris. What was your letter grading for who let the dogs out? Who?
For a top 4 team, D.
Okay.
I thought you guys finished in the top 4. You didn't even look like a finals team, let alone top 4 at the end of this. Unbelievable. Just shit. MVP. I'm going to go Jacob Kiraz. If it wasn't for your injury, you probably play Origin. And without
fullback.
you being able to throw the footy around at fullback and essentially offload, they wouldn't have done shit offensively, especially towards the end of the season. LVP, I have to agree. Matty Burton. No. Bailey Hayward. Forgot about this prick. Yeah, Bailey Hayward.
Your boy.
The next coming of the hooker of the year. You were awful in all aspects. And to the point that you were so bad that when they had to play Penrith in a game that they needed to win, they were like, fuck, we need Marnie back.
Yeah.
That's how shitty he was. And slash, actually, you know what? There's going to be a few. Bailey Hayward / Gus / Serraldo.
Yeah.
They all deserve an LVP. Whoever made that fucking decision. Most impressive win, Sharks, of course. Least impressive, the loss is fucking Penrith.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Penrith. Fuck me.
Penrith. There's not even an argument. Highlight of the season.
I know the Sharks game was pretty bad. The second one.
The second one was bad. I watched that game live. It was awful. They couldn't score. But now Penrith.
Tigers?
What defined their season? That was bad too. What defined their season was just
The circus show.
the lack of decisions from this team. The fucking lack of balls, lack of ability to just change Galvin and put him in, even if it doesn't work. The first couple of weeks. The lack of offensive ability where when you guys just can't go left in the first 8 rounds. And also all the hype around the training, all the fans, they also deserve to be in the LVP. 8 weeks in, these cunts were winning a premiership. They might have had parties in Belmore. Who knows? But come the end of the season, no one wants to be their fan, except for Matt. Shout out to him. Everyone else has given up on them. Fair enough. They're fucking shit. And I called it, but that's not a point. You're a fan of the club. We sit here and have to talk about Tigers every week and say they're awful. We at least sit there and go, all right, we back them this week. We like them. But you cunts are just completely off them. And that was we're going to win a premiership to completely off them. The changes from Gus and Serraldo,
Truly mind-blowing.
I've got no words, but it also creates a great part here where we can go through every single player that played for Bulldogs. So we're going to let that happen now.
This is a true joy of mine and
of the podcast.
The skit of the podcast, doing team lists for these morons every week, truly gives me joy. And there's a 30-player roster to go through.
God.
Shout out to Blake Tuff,
For what?
the man in charge of the debiting and crediting for this club. Shout out to Blake Wilson. I don't know how many more outside backs had to get injured for you to get a run. When I see you run out of Manly shirt, I will laugh. Shout out to Bronson Jerry. Probably played a game this weekend and scored in it. Shout out to Connor Tracy, the poor man's Edwards. Fuck me, you try hard, but you are just so mid. Shout out to Hutchison. I did like things better when you were around because fuck me, you cunts were awful when you used to play. Shout out to Inari. You can take the player out of the Knights jersey, but you can't take the Knights jersey out of the player.
True.
When you go to pick 6 the other week, I did laugh at that. Shout out to Karaz. I hope 27 games go by next year, you don't play fullback. Shout out to Rina Karma. When I took plus 8.5 against Penrith, I must have forgotten that you were playing because my commentary around you made Alamotti look like Michael Jordan, which really pissed me off. Yeah, go the Tigers, mate. Shout out to Lockie Galvin, the most hated player in the league for really no reason. When you go back and look at
it didn't matter.
Their performances, he's the only cunt that gave these cunts hope. Shout out to Montoya. The bravery for you to play through circumcision was truly commendable. Shout out to Matt Burton. Why? Actually downgraded himself by playing one good game a month to one good game every 3 months. At the end, I was like, oh, did you? No, just still plays like dirt.
Jesus Christ.
Shout out to Mitch Woods. Don't worry, he'll save them next year. Shout out to Stephen Crichton, the defensive coordinator. I think that his batteries ran out in his headset in the Penrith game because fuck me, they were not listening to him. Shout out to Toby Sexton. You leave with a statue of you built outside the ANZ Stadium that I will set fire to once you're gone. Fuck me, you were awful in that Penrith game as well.
Oh, here he is.
Shout out to Bailey Hayward. I think you gave him a shout out in the LVP section, which I'll leave it as is.
The best hooker.
Actually, no, I won't. Cameron Smith himself takes notes from this man of how to play the dummy half position. Shout out to Daniel Saluka Fafita. If your eyes aren't working so well, and you look at him and squint, you might think it's Payne Haas running out there. Shout out to Harry Hayes. You will be alongside Jacob Preston as the vice captain for the Australian Kangaroos and the New South Wales Blues. Shout out to Jack Todd. Again, the next coming that will save them along with Mitch Woods next year. Shout out to Jacob Preston, future Australian Kangaroos immortal and New South Wales immortal, along with being the Bulldogs immortal. Shout out to Jamin Salmon, LAPD, NYPD. Doesn't matter who's after you. There's no hacking into your phone to get the photos of Gus and Serraldo. Shout out to Turpin. I think Gus has actually adopted him as one of his children because there's no other explanation for this cunt to continue being a part of the club. Shout out to Josh Curran. He's a pretty good player. Why not? Shout out to Kurt Mann. You cut him when he bleeds maroon. Shout out to Moran. I did miss him at the end coming off the back fence because Gus refused to pick a front rower on the bench. Shout out to Max King. Blue is your colour, but just not the New South Wales blue, hopefully, for the sake of the state. Shout out to Reid Marnie. You will go down in the history books as the 70th best hooker to wear the blue and white for this club. Shout out to Sam Hughes. I guess because he didn't get his hat-trick, they just stopped selecting him, which I feel like is a bit unfair to the man. Shout out to Tupanua. Probably he's at home right now, shoulder charging the wall, getting ready for round 1 next year to get suspended for 6 months, being the rooster that he is. I feel like one of the funniest things to come out of the season was if instead of playing Burden at centre in the finals game, they put Tupanua there. But obviously, Gus had his own ideas. Shout out to Kikau. He's also a pretty good player. Shout out to Cameron Sorrello, the lost case that he was at head coach this season.
Oh, we did it.
And shout out to Gus, the man that didn't know Galvin but signed him. So going through this team season, it's probably the most interesting one to review in hindsight because they came to such a flying start, but when you really put your binoculars on and you look at this Dogs team from start to finish,
this cunt's a shit.
Is it really worth giving them credit?
No.
At the end of the day for what they accomplished? What did they accomplish?
They won 9 games
in actuality.
They won 9 games in a row.
They started the season 1-6 in a row, and for the majority of the year, they beat all the dirtbags. But coming off a season where they quit to Manly, quit to Cowboys, quit to Manly again, our question marks on this team was, well, not our, because I want to give you the credit for this, because you have been banging the drum on this for about 24 months now. What's the difference between you and Sharks? At least Sharks beat the top 8 caliber teams in the regular season. They have wins against Melbourne multiple times.
They beat Penrith, though.
You motherfuckers just go out there and lose every single time that you are playing in a game that you are playing a caliber opposition similar to yourselves, right? You lost to Penrith. You lost to Melbourne twice. You fucking lost to Sharks the second time. Sure, you beat them once. You got raped by Roosters. You beat them by 4. Brisbane beat you twice before they were good in any of those times. And when push came to shove at the end and your season was on the line, what you had predicated your entire club's identity on, the defensive side of the ball, got thrown to the wayside, and you cunts went out there and literally bent over to Alamoti. And in the midst of all this happening, the scoreboard flatters you because you scored 24. And when you ask the question, why did they score 24? Wasn't Burden, wasn't Kikau, wasn't Marnie, wasn't fucking Karaz. It was literally Galvin scoring 24 points for you cunts. And yet, after all that, you want to be the most critical of him because, we watch NRL 360 and they roast this cunt every night, so he must be shit. When if you're actually watching the games, he's the only cunt on with a pulse on this team. So I'm going to revise my letter grading because in hindsight, these cunts actually did nothing the entire year besides just beat bum. So I'm going to give him a D. You coming fourth does nothing for me if you lose every single time.
What's the point? Third, not fourth. I wish they came fourth.
Sorry, third. What was the point? So same old.
The other thing is, I just wish Galvin didn't go there because I know with Sexton the same thing would have happened.
Yeah, if not, they'd just score less.
And they score less. I feel like everyone's just trying to scapegoat Galvin, but the same shit would have happened if he wasn't there.
Yeah,
and I don't think people understand that.
It did happen the year prior.
Correct. Same bullshit. They just give up at the end of the year. They're tired, bro. He's fucking running preseason probably from now.
Yeah.
What do you expect? You cannot make Penrith. It's not makeable. Yeah. What they've done is something that will never be done again. You cannot remake them. And I feel like this team wants to be that team. You cannot. It's not possible. It's just not possible. They're robots. When they come out in 20 years and say Penrith were robots in these seasons, you'd be like, okay, makes sense. That's the only way you can explain Penrith. So don't strive to get there, even though next year is going to be the same thing. You're going to do the same thing all over again. And then Galvin's going to score a few more points, so you're going to blow out those teams in the early season. Everyone's going to think, here we come, and then get to finals. And this time you might lose to Roosters, or this time you might lose to Sharks, or this time you might lose to Melbourne again. Who knows? It's the same shit. Well, they get Leo Thompson, though.
That helps. That helps. He's a good player.
Night.
I think that they are missing
2 nights.
They are lacking a good quality middle forward because Sam Hughes, I mean, fucking hell, boys. But see what annoys me about Bulldogs now is they've actually made next season very boring for us.
Yeah, I know,
because they've completely absolved the 25-game regular season next year where what could they prove to us throughout the
Nothing.
week in, week out shit that we won't just come on and be like, yeah, but you quit in the last 5 games of the last 2 years, so you can't winning this game. Okay, sure, you beat Dragons 34-12 and you dominated them from start to finish. Your forwards were too good. Critter fucking did a flick past the Karazi, scored in the corner. Who gives a fuck? Correct. Does it matter? Did you beat Brisbane? Did you beat Melbourne? Did you beat Penrith? Did you beat Sharks? Did you beat Roosters? No, you didn't beat any of them. Okay, well, until you do.
They were the worst team in the 8. 100%.
They were. I swear to on my mum's life, week 2, if they played Warriors would beat them.
Yep, I agree.
And Warriors were awful by then.
No, yeah, Roosters were better than them. Bro, even teams outside, Dolphins would have put a better fight than, at least they would have scored 30 on Penrith.
What's there to say about this team? And another positive for you guys is, well, we have Critter, he's a great leader, and we have Gus and Serrallo, they know how to lead an organization. We've re-signed them till 2031. Was that leadership throughout the halfway point of the year?
Did you not see how they played?
Was that something that I can trust going forward of, okay, well, the first time it happened, you can't your fitness ran out at the end and you lost the Cola by 2. That game you probably should have won. Fair enough. You go into the second season, which was this year, knowing what happened the previous year, right? This is new. This is not new knowledge for you cunts that, last year we started winning 50 in a row and then we gave up at the end. This year, let's go out and win 50 in a row and not give up at the end. But then you cunts gave up anyway. So this dog side was, at the end, not only were they shit and playing shit footy, but they were actually infuriating to even have commentary on because everywhere I looked was, Galvin sucks. But Galvin actually was playing pretty good.
Correct.
At the position they've selected him in. And the narrative around Galvin was so frustrating because it completely absolved the dicks that we call out every week. Kickout was he even playing? Burden was he even playing? Sexton was there in the fucking...
that last game, but
did he do anything? No, he didn't. Salmon, just... Whew. Max King, he played Origin. Was he there at the end?
No.
It didn't matter. So there's nothing more I can give these pricks than a D+ at the end of the year. These cunts were awful.
D+, all right. I'll stick with D.
Fucking hell, they were shit. Team. So I think they have a lot to fucking make up for next year. And if they get to a point where they beat a couple top 8 sides in consecutive fashion, then I might show them a bit of respect. But you cunts beating Dragons, Tigers, Souths means nothing to me. Moving on to the team that finished in 6th place. Up the fucking wires, mate. Up those wires. The mighty wires, they come. 7th in the end.
Yeah, technically.
Top 4, essentially, for about 24 rounds. Fell flat towards the end of the season after some injuries. Hit them at the wrong time. In a season that they were expected to finish towards that bottom 4 end of the table. My letter grade for the wires, I'm giving them a B+. Even though they finished below some teams that got a C or a D, I feel like they had a very good season and they should hold themselves in high regard. MVP.
You can't should understand that.
MVP. There was a few candidates, aka the Dalium Lock of the Year, but
no, fuck that cunt.
Genuinely, you went from holy fuck, this is a premiership contending team when Luke Metcalf was there, and the drop off not just within the game of him getting injured, but the following 12 weeks that came once he went down was astronomical, and there's no other argument I could make for anyone else that would supersede that. My MVP was Luke Metcalf. My LVP is actually hilarious.
Webster.
I went with James Fisher-Harris.
Fair.
You were touted as the captain of the club and the man
of the nation.
The man that's going to replace the productivity and the impact of Adam Fanua-Blake and bring premiership resolve to this team. This can't even play week in, week out.
No.
His impact... They actually went on a winning run when he got suspended for those 3 games, and Mitch Barnett was playing the best front rower on the team. And once he came back, so many uncharacteristic errors from him, a lot of high shots, ill discipline, it looked like once he got removed from the Panthers jersey, he was a different player, and that was not what they signed up for when they gave him the contract that they gave him. Most impressive win, 40 on the Sharks with Wade Egan not being there. I think that was the game they announced that they are the real deal, and unfortunately the week after Luke Metcalf got injured, so we'll never know. The worst loss, it's not even close, losing to the Penrith B team in New Zealand, which, like, come on, boys, you can't lose to Penrith, which was what they were claimed at the time. What stood out most about the Wars? Found the true superstar half who, when present, looked like a premiership contender. Found the generational back row in Halasima, and Aaron Clark looked to be a fantastic signing for this club. Record against the spread was 13-12, which barely made them profitable because outside of covering against Manly in the last round, they legit spiraled out of control at the end of the season. What is your letter grade rating for the Wars, mate?
Up the Wars. I'll give him an A. Wow. Expectations-wise, they were nowhere near close, and they were flying. And I underrated them most of the year. Injuries went my way for them to drop off and finish 7th, but they were fantastic. Or 6th, sorry. They were fantastic. And with Metcalf and Barnett, they were brilliant. So many young stars, backline playing great. They were untouchable in the forward pack. They looked like Penrith, and the only team that I would say, Bulldogs suck my cock, Warriors were the closest team we'd seen to Penrith. They were just fucking relentless. And they would win every game by 2 because they would just fucking not let someone score, and then Metcalf would do something and get him to score. So A for me. MVP, Metcalf, it's not even a fucking question. This guy was just so good throughout the early season, regardless of injury. LVP, whoever the fuck played hooker outside of Wayne Egan, because it was like another team had transformed.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's even when Metcalf wasn't there, they actually weren't bad through the middle of the park. They just couldn't fucking score. But when Egan wasn't there, it was like a freeway opened up in the middle. Awful. Most impressive win. The Sharks game is hard to top. Trying to think of any others that they won. Like, just fucking. I think the Sharks game. It's very hard to top that game. They played great, and without Egan as well, which I just said is whoever was there is the LVP. So
I guess maybe the only other candidate was the Cowboys game when Cowboys looked like scoring 10 converted tries, but they actually held on. But I would go Sharks.
Sharks. LVP, you missed one. Titans. You can't lose to Titans. Like, Titans at home. And that was exactly the game that I knew that these cunts can't play with. Egan went off with an injury, and it was just a fucking capitulation to the team coming last at that point. Obviously, that helped them to not come last. But overall, Warriors are truly pleasantly surprised. You've transformed a forward pack that just had Adam Fanua-Blake to a fucking wrecking machine, and I'm hoping that happens next year as well. Halasima, Laban, who hasn't played most of the year, Aaron Clark, lock of the year, Neil Cora getting $1 million a year, Fisher Harris getting another $1 million a year. It's a fucking star-started forward pack.
Capewell with a mean left foot step.
Capewell, left foot step. Barnett to come back. You've transformed to the best pack in the competition come next year with everyone there, if everyone's back, and obviously got a new superstar halfback. Sharks. I can't imagine if you can't had Trindle or Metcalf what this team would become. Maybe it's a premiership. But Metcalf looking at Warriors has been brilliant. And whoever has been at 5'8", it hasn't really mattered because of how good Metcalf is playing, and he was great through the year that he was there. The rest of the team, really just serviceable. Backline didn't make many mistakes through the start of the year, which really helped and just made so many meters. Dallin and Roger on the wings are always going to make you meters, regardless of how dumb they are in certain situations. Especially that game against Penrith, Dallin being an idiot. But no one expected you guys to win that game. And no one expected you guys to do anything throughout the year. And that's why I'm giving you guys an A. One of the only A's. And an A for a team that got knocked out in the first round. But they were so good with Metcalf. I can't imagine that happening. And to be honest, the top 4 spot that you probably would have taken was Dogs or Broncos. Broncos obviously won a premiership. You can't say shit about them. But if you replace Dogs, I would be pleasantly happy because I didn't have to fucking watch Dogs capitulate twice in a row. And you probably put more of a fight against Penrith week 2 getting them to go to New Zealand week 2 in a game with Metcalf would have been much a different story to what fucking Dogs ditched up against Penrith in week 2 of the final. So shout out to the Warriors, shout out to the G's. You guys deserve that A. You had a great season.
No, I agree with you, mate. And obviously there was alarm bells ringing after week 1 because they looked completely inept, which was your concern for the team heading into the season. But once Metcalf really emerged, I feel like he kind of galvanized the whole club and the whole player base, that the forwards knew that if we hold this team to kick on their 20-meter line and get down here, we can actually score again. The backs knew that, fuck me, like, we better be on, because Metcalf can do a shoulder goal. We've got to be there for support. He could cut out. He can go short. He has the ball on the string right now. It gave them an ability to defend, where knowing that, fuck, if we can hang on and it's a one-possession game, Metcalf can do something and we can end up scoring. Once that was absent, fuck me, everything just went down into the drain. And you were lucky to beat Knights, who that would have been the last win of their season, that's for sure. You lost the Titans. Just looked like you lost to Para when they legit had, 10% possession for the entire game. I can't be too harsh on you guys, because we're going into the season with a questionable spine. And if anything, Metcalf's injury puts the spotlight more on players like Harris Tavita and Chanzi at fullback, where, okay, when you have a Dally M leading performance every week from Metcalf, they look serviceable. But as soon as he's absent, can these other players step up in his absence? And the answer was a resounding no. So if they're going to try and compete for a premiership moving forward, I have serious question marks on Chanzi being fullback, Harris Tavita being 5'8", and the durability of Egan is a question mark. But
yeah, he gets injured.
To run out Clark and Halasima and Niakure and Fisher Harris and Capewell, that's shown that it's not going to be easy on any given week to beat this Warriors team. And it's unfortunate that what might have been, had the injuries not occurred. Obviously, Mitch Barnett was a very big loss as well. He was in the strong forward pack, probably playing the best footy of anyone. But honestly, Halasimas is probably the best talented forward I've seen since David Fafita.
100%.
And he looks like he has more of a motor. And at the end of the year, it was just peg it at Halasima and see what happens. And he was actually drawing up aces at half the time. Fuck me, he was playing well. This is where it starts getting go.
I think the next one. This one's boring. It's just
Cock-a-doodle-doo. Shout out to you, Bunsey and J-Maz. We're moving on to the Sydney Roosters, who were a first-round exit in what was a commendable year. That poor Trent Robinson didn't have enough talent to make the 8, and they'll probably miss it because Sam Walker isn't there, even though he's not that good. But here comes Rabbitohs, here comes Nwanganitawase, here comes Savala. And things changed. They make the 8. They go as 3-point favourites to Shark Park and lose due to their own stupidity. And for a letter grade, you will think I'm being too harsh, I believe, but I'm giving them a C+. They made the 8. No one thought they would make the 8. But at the end of the week, at the end of the year, I feel like when you genuinely, objectively look at what they ran out there in the last 4 to 6 weeks of this competition, they should have achieved more than 0 finals wins. And for that reason, I'm giving them a C+. MVP, there was a few candidates, but I went James Tedesco. Anyone that wins the Dally M medal is the MVP of their own team. LVP, Angus Crichton was awful from start to finish of this season. I mean, from winning the Wally Lewis medal to playing like dirt every round, he was particularly bad in my eyes. Best win of the season of any team genuinely was week 2, going as 24.5-point underdogs with tradies in the forward pack and beating Penrith, which was hilarious. They've had some bad losses, but in hindsight, losing to Titans by 18 is unforgivable by all metrics.
That was a few weeks later.
What stood out was the emergence of the next crop of the Roosters DNA. Marky Mark, Rabbitohs, Hugo Savala, Nafahu White. Their record against the spread ends at 13-12. What letter grade performance are you giving the Chooks? Cock-a-doodle-doo, mate.
You know what? Surprising. Because it's the teams I scream at that I give the best ratings to. A-.
A? Why? You screamed at Robinson for 12 months and you give him an A?
I always scream Robinson. I actually didn't scream at him this much this year.
Yeah, you coached really well.
He did coach
when
really
they went
well.
out and dropped it 50 times against Sharks.
They're not competing to them. Anyway, MVP, James Tedesco, it's not even a question. LVP, I'm going to copy the same thing because Jaggers cried. Fuck me. I mean, where are your offloads, huh? Cunt.
Yeah.
Most impressive win, Dogs.
The dagger they put into him.
Fucking hell, they destroyed him. Most loss, there's a plethora, but I think the true pinnacle has to be the Tigers.
Tigers,
one.
yeah.
Oh
I
my
knew
God. Holy fuck, that was funny.
I can't even picture who they lost to.
I don't know. Remember they didn't have Luai? Heath, they lost to Heath.
Yeah, Heath and Latu.
Why I gave him an A, no one thought, including myself, that these cunts were a chance. And truly, one thing Robinson actually does genuinely well, which is surprising, because it's much more difficult than doing the normal shit well, is his young players or players that just joined the team always play gun. Savala from nothing, gun. Robert Toya from nothing, plays 3 Origin games, locks up Latrell. Marky Mark, the most
God
annoying
himself.
winger I have ever seen in my entire life. 3 players, not just saying that, Nafau White,
White, yeah.
incredible. He's sacked the Butchers off, which is fantastic because they keep dropping it. He sacked Baker off. That's fantastic because they keep dropping it. Look, this team, like, on paper, come the end of the year, was like, holy fuck, Roosters are good. And at the start, after that first loss, I was just like, these cunts are finished. Beyond.
Until I defended them in week 2.
Beyond. Like, I truly thought this is it for Robinson. He might get fired this year. They were 24-point dogs. But then the young players showed up for him, and I was like, they saved this season. Then I watched them lose to Titans, and I was like, this is the same shit I see every year. But look, they hung in there. And why I've got them in there, why I got them so high is because, 1, no one thought of it. 2, they probably have the biggest platform to jump and easiest platform to jump to that next level. And you know what? When you lose by 10 points to Sharks, let's disregard the facts of the betting markets completely. If you just look at it on paper, from the start of the year to the finish, Sharks should be 3-point favourites, minimum, in the finals game. Because Sharks were touted, we were saying behind a premiership, we were saying top 4 easy, this team has an easy run. Roosters, yeah, they probably won't make the 8. Sam Walker's out for this period of time. Brandon Smith's out for this period of time. Yet, when it got to that time, the betting market said, you know what, Roosters are favourite. Roosters have been the better team. They're not. They weren't. And they were completely wrong. But they lost to a team that should have been in front of them prediction-wise. And Sharks should have been way in front of them. They should have been in the top 4. And they had to play tooth and nail with this Roosters team who literally were in the fight until Sam Walker wants to do some breakdancing on the wing and go down 12-4 at halftime. If that's 6-4, you don't know what happens in the second half. They score first in the first half through our boy Angus Crichton. But they scored first in the second half, but it didn't matter because these cunts were down 8. They scored first. Sharks put them away, and that essentially killed the game with the Rudolph try.
It's too hard to stop Rudolph with your season on the line.
Of course. I get that, but for them, their whole run until then, I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to scream at Robinson. Next year's a whole different story because they have all the talent. They get Robson in. They have now a backline full of Origin players, plus maybe Joseph Manu, who's been talking around in the news, coming back to Roosters. We're talking about the best team on paper all over again. Can they perform? And we've seen years that they seem to capitulate to Melbourne and Penrith. And that's where I will essentially give them the D's and the E's and the F if that sort of happened. But not this year, because this year is not expected. And for me, was definitely not. Roosters, keep your heads up high. Next year is a big year, though, because you're versing a bunch of teams that were there this year and nothing much changes. You are the newcomer on the block and essentially saying, all right, we're Roosters. We got Robinson. Let's see how far you guys go. But this year, A-.
Fair enough. I feel like you're being a bit too generous towards the Chooks faithful. I know you're a secret Roosters fan. But
Yeah.
I can't go to an A, but obviously they do get credit for a lot of things. I think my take when I made the reel of them 10 weeks ago was, in the end, very accurate, that you can't ride this team too high and you can't ride this team too low. When they concede 50 to Brisbane in week 1, you can't write them off and be like they're a dirt club. The following week where they go and beat Penrith, you can't be like, oh, well, they're actually good again, because then they're going to go to Titans and lose. They're going to go to Tigers and lose. But they're going to annihilate Melbourne, and then they're going to annihilate Penrith again. Sorry, no, Penrith actually murdered them the second time. Apologies.
What was that? That was a dumb loss. There was another dumb loss in there.
Where they went and murdered Dogs. That was like, oh, fuck, okay,
Yeah.
they're awake. And that stretch of the season that defined them was when they played their competition. They beat Manly in Manly. They put 60 on Dolphins, and then they beat Dogs. Then it was like, okay, they've announced themselves as, we're here now.
But then Roosters being Roosters, they lose to Power.
But again, they lost to Power again for no reason, which was a candidate for their worst loss. Also, sneaky worst loss was the Melbourne one, where Lindsay Collins scored and Jerome Hughes dislocated his shoulder, and Pappy and Munster didn't even play, and they lost to Harry Grant by himself. Was just like typical Roosters. But
it's Roosters.
Yeah, at the end of the day, look, my biggest takeaway is, in a year that they were touted to be awful, they emerge out of that year of, well, we get Robson, and who knows what the fuck will happen with Cherry Evans next year.
Yeah, 100%.
And everyone comes into this star-studded lineup, and the premiership window is opened again out of thin air for these pricks. And you got to respect them as a club. They're always talented. They're always in the mix, but do they always perform to their potential? I feel like I don't like to look too much at preseason expectation, because by the end of the season, Sharks showed that they're not that good that we thought they would be, and Newcastle showed that you actually are capable of being better than them, and that's why you were laying 3.5. And in the end, you just fell short, and I can't give you anything higher than a C+, but it was a good season considering the expectations, and you move forward to potentially contending in a year upcoming where there's no real prohibited standout, oh, these guys are $3 to win the premiership kind of thing,
Other
right?
than Brisbane, apparently.
Well, Brisbane are like $5.50 or something.
They were
as the favourites.
$4.75 now.
Sure, they've shortened a bit, but it's not normal that you see. Over the years, it's been Penrith $3, Penrith $2.80. Last year was Melbourne $3.20. To see the favourites be $4.80 implies that, you know what, this competition's a bit up for grabs. So we'll see what happens with you idiots. Moving on to
the Dirts.
The Dirts begin. All the teams that missed the finals going from 9 to 17, and your
Where's
ninth
Dragons?
place team. Oh, we've got to go a few more spots before we get to those idiots, because you probably forgot how low they actually finished.
I miss Dragons already.
The Mighty Finns finished 9th in another season, the 3rd in a row where they are in top 8 contention. They are in the mix, but they just fall short at the end in a disappointing fashion. But I'm going with a letter grade rating of B+ for this team, considering preseason expectations, all the chatter around Wayne leaving, all the injuries throughout the season, all the reasons to give up after starting 0-4. But you're right there on, fuck, if we just get a performance out of Souths to upset Roosters somehow, then we're going to fuck around and end up going to Shark Park, but it wasn't meant to be. You get a B+. MVP, I'm going Isaiah Katoa. I think he actually should have been the Dally M halfback of the 100%. Year. He was insane from start to finish. Other candidates of Hammer and Herbie also had great seasons, but this guy has turned into the hope of Dolphins going into the future of, well, if we have this guy, then fuck me, we can go out there and score 60 points a game, apparently. LVP, it's kind of hard to single out one single player, but based on expectation and how good a player I think he is, I feel like Jeremy Marshall-King had a very quiet season, and maybe the shine of Katoa and Hammer and Herbie took over from him, but he really was like not doing what I expect from him in the middle of the park, and for that reason I'm giving him... Also, he is the heart of the defense in the middle of the field, and these guys went out there conceded 60 points every game.
Yes,
so
correct.
That's why I'm giving him my LVP. Their best win, I'm going with an asterisk because it happened in back-to-back weeks. Beating Penrith and Melbourne early in the season when they came off starting 0-4 was like, oh, okay, this team's actually what we said that they have potential of being. Worst loss. Against your direct competition for a chance to make the 8, you lost 64-12 to Roosters, and that's hard for me to look past. What stood out, awful start, tons of injuries, but the high-powered attack emerged post the Wayne Bennett era and genuinely looked like the best attacking team in this competition. But your inability to defend is alarming at the same rate. Record against the spread, dead even at 12-12. So what was your letter grade performance for the Finns this year?
I'm going to go A-. Surprised you guys missed the 8, but to be honest, I had you guys making the 8. Did I think Roosters would go on that massive run? No. So that was the difference maker. If they didn't have that run or Sam Walker didn't come back healthy, you probably sneak into that 8th position because you were in that fight. MVP Katoa, it's not even a question. LVP, hard to argue. You know what? I'm going to say a weird one, and I know he got injured, but I'm going to say Bostock, just because I don't think he was great when he was there, and most likely he's going to lose his spot come next year with Cobbo coming across, and I'm sure Wolf is going to figure it out. But there really wasn't a player that I could say was bad because all their starters got injured, and then all their backups played gun anyway. So it really made sense. So I couldn't make anyone else.
It was tough.
Most impressive win, I'm going to single one out. Beating Sharks again was pretty funny. The first time, that was pretty funny. But they beat him again.
Did they beat Sharks?
Didn't they beat him? Oh, no. That's when they gave up. That's when they gave up. The Hammer didn't play. Not many big ones outside of those 2 at the start, which was fucked. I don't even know how
they won both of them.
How they won both of them was fucking nuts. And most impressive loss, or least impressive game, Knights. No. It's not even a question. You can't lose the Knights.
A candidate for me was week 1.
Week 1 was also up there, but Knights, fucking hell. The week 2 was fucked. All right, highlight of season, best offense in the comp, ? Outside of Brisbane. As a team, I would say these guys play better.
They do, yeah.
And structurally, they basically dismantled anyone in front of them, which was fucking insane throughout most of the season. But in saying that, me and this guy could run at halves for the other team, and you guys would let us score.
Yeah.
Because defensively was just fucking incredible, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
Do I think that's your fault partially, or the injuries here and there? You guys were awful at the start of the year with all your players, so what can I really say? But the offense kept you in the game. Your offense was incredible most of the season. Even towards the end, you cunts were just fucking putting on points for fun. Herbie not being there didn't matter. Plath not being there didn't matter. Gilbert not being there didn't matter. You cunts were just fucking scoring at will. All down to Katoa, who should have been the halfback of the year for sure. Like Cleary, yeah, okay, I get the mystique, but wow, Katoa had a year and a half, and he should have really been there. And yeah, look, I think a lot of this I didn't expect. I think a lot of us didn't think, like, I expect them to make the 8. They finished 9th. That's fine by me. I think for me, like, a lot of the Dolphins and a lot of the chatter will be how this team reacts for next year. I mean, this is the team that I don't know if it's going to be underrated or people going to really rate them. It's going to be a very interesting scenario because they've shown this year they probably have one of, if not the best offense in the comp. They clear up some of the defense, not even to the point that they need to fucking lock down anyone. And I think that's a key difference with this team is that they can let you score 20, they'll score 30. Like, their offense is so fucking nuts that it's unstoppable. And to have a backline of namely Asako, Cobbo, Farnworth, let's say Hammer plays center and Fuller at fullback with Nikarima and Katoa, you are going to score a shit ton of points. Maybe the most points in the competition next year. So I think next year is a big thing for them. But this year was still a big year, and it showed that it wasn't Wayne, we have this in us, and Wolf, a big year for you. He really could have been MVP as well. For all the shit he got that Wayne's not there, you can't coach this club, and starting 0-4 can't be easy for a rookie coach. He comes in and says, fuck no, this team is ready, and almost makes the 8. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Dolphins. Had a great season.
The Dolphins scored more than 30 points in 12 of their 14 games. So every other week they score 30, if not 40 or 50. And there was actually multiple 60-point games with this team, which is insane.
And there's multiple games without players.
Once the machine gets rolling, they are like
nuts.
Just absolutely blitzing teams off the park. And, you know, there are more talented teams, a la Brisbane, Melbourne, Penrith, all these, even Canberra, you could argue that when it gets going, they don't even look like this Dolphin side, where just the sheer pace and the inability to contain what's coming at you from Katoa and Herbie and Hammer in the middle. Like, Hammer, I think, went scoreless for the first 5 rounds, missed a couple of games, and genuinely, I think he scored like 26 tries in like a 14-game span. It was nuts because they would just make a line break and throw it to him, and no one in the stadium could catch him. It was incredible. Where you might have fallen short, I don't want to blame you for losses at the end of the year because genuinely you were running out Keeley and co. You had no forwards. Daniel Saifidi, Gilbert, Plath, Flegler, all these sort of players that you were meant to build your forward pack around were not there. And if you're going to go out and start conceding 50, like, you just ran out of steam, and I can forgive you for that. But when you had all these morons and you went and lost to Souths for no reason, Tigers for no reason, Knights for no reason, that's where just one of those wins would have you in the 8 at the end of the year. And it's disappointing that it comes down to that after doing so much to end up scoring 740 points and winning all these games by 100. But that's what it comes down to, right? The margin for error for these teams that only like Melbourne or Penrith can show that we can go and win 8, 9, 10 games in a row if we need. It's very hard to start an 0-4 hole and make the semis when you're not one of those sides, but Dolphins came as bloody close as you could without actually making it. So shout out to them. It looks like they do have a competent coach, because if they had a moron a la Demetrio, remember when South started 0-3 and gave up? These guys even outdid South, started 0-4, but he did steer the ship and made an impact once the players sort of settled into him. And I do like that he's not coaching like Wayne. That he has them playing to their strengths to some degree of, you know what, fuck it, we'll throw the footy around and we'll start beating teams. And, you know, it works for them, so fair enough. But As far as next year goes, will they be rated, was your question. There's a lot of reason for optimism, I feel like. So I think for the footy heads that really are paying attention, for a team that didn't make the 8, you probably can make the strongest case of Dolphins if they are healthy, that they can beat anyone in any given scenario. But
case coming.
Well, that's the beauty of us doing this podcast, mate, because you can tell me, but you can make a very strong case for Dolphins.
Of course.
Can they just run out there and score 60 points around next year as well? It's might be hard to back up. Nothing's a given in this sport. And who knows, if they go out and start scoring 12 again next year, we'll be like, well, what the fuck happened? They got all their players back. They can't score. But in theory, this should be a team that was unlucky to miss the 8 and definitely should be in there next year.
They might break the scoring record next year.
Yeah, 800. I'm waiting for someone to break the conceding record that Doc set in Sir Alva's first year. Something new.
Well, there's one team.
There's a candidate. All right.
They might have done it this year.
Actually, writing my notes, this was the funniest one of all of them. How do you make an eagle noise? This team, every year there's a team I claim throughout the proceedings of the regular season, and every year there's also a team I just start despising because of what they dish out there. Manly. And this year was Manly for me. Fuck me, they were awful. Letter grade, I went D-, based on preseason expectations and the caliber of roster they're running out there. These cunts were awful, and after actually starting the year well, I don't know why they gave up, but they did give up, and that's concerning.
Seabold.
There's no reports of Seabold losing his job, but there's a million reports of the players not giving a shit about him or the homework he gives them, so that's alarming. MVP, I went Tolu Kola. It was between him and Lehigh. Definitely could have gone Lehigh, but the rampage that Kola went on where he was scoring 100-meter try after 100-meter try, I gave it to him. LVP, fuck me, there was a few candidates. I went Cherry Evans because once his announcement came that he's giving up on them, they gave up. And once he announced it, he himself started playing like dirt. So that's by default I gave it to him. Best win, obviously shout out to you when they played for you and went to Melbourne and won. And
for no reason.
Convinced everyone that they're going to save their season, except me. Worst loss. I cannot believe you can't win the Gold Coast in Origin round. With Turbo, with Cherry Evans, with Hamoli, and lost 28-8 to those morons. Didn't they lose the Knights
a week before?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
the Knights one was just as bad, but at least I like Knights. Like Titans, fucking hell. 28-8. That's just... What the fuck were you guys doing out there? What stood out most? Good start. As soon as Cherry Evans announced...
They gave up.
This is what I've written word for word. Good start. As soon as Cherry Evans announced he's leaving, you quit on the season. That's it.
For no reason.
Record against the spread 11-13, so you can't sweat even profitable. Letter grade rating for Manly?
D-. I agree. They were awful. They're supposed to be the team that was supposed to compete with these pricks as the next coming. But I don't know whose season ended up worse. Maybe because they came third, but fucking hell. That last game was fucked for them. Anyway. MVP.
Brooks.
Not Brooks.
I could say Garrick. I guess he was pretty good.
Garrick's just always there though. I'll go Lehigh. Like at least he can go into fullback. He started messing shit up and started doing shit. So fuck it.
He was good wherever they picked him.
LVP Turbo. I'm sorry, bro. Like
Urbo, you mean?
Urbo. Fuck it. Awful. Best win. Was it the Broncos one or the Melbourne one? I'm gonna say Broncos.
Yeah, sure.
Because why not? Why did they win?
That's fair.
And worst loss, I'm gonna say Knights because fuck that game. Fuck that game.
16-0 to lose the Knights.
Everything I want to say Manly is you can't just. I don't know why you can't gave up. To be honest. Okay, one, you did have a lot of injuries this year, which didn't happen last year, and no one came back really healthy. But it was an excuse for how you played through the middle of the season. And truly, it came down to those 3-game stretch. The Tigers game, the Knights game, the Titans game. You win all 3, you make the 8. Which sounds nuts, but it's true. And you guys don't deserve to make the 8. Not just saying that, but I'm saying the games you guys ended up fucking losing were the dumbest games, the bottom 3 teams. And that's why you guys weren't there. So that's essentially puts a cap on it. Cherry Evans quitting on the team. Look, it mattered for 2 weeks, but you cunts made it matter for the whole season, which for no reason.
Yeah.
Because 2 weeks later, you sign Fogarty for fucking peanuts, and you have a halfback. It's not like you're running out there with Brooks and fucking Jake Arthur. You're running out there with Fogarty and Brooks, which is not bad. It's a serviceable fucking arms pairing. But you cunts made it act like a Hiroshima bomb landed on your team and Cherry's leaving. Like,
I can't wait to discuss Jake Arthur further later in this
Knights. Everything comes down to Knights. But look, this team is not bad on paper. Am I going to write them off next year? Fuck no, because on paper they're still fucking good. They still have a great backline.
Yeah, for
they
sure.
still have an X factor at fullback. They still have
a professor at head coach.
at head coach. As long as they do his homework, they'll wake up. And we saw glimpses of that last year, especially towards the end of the year. But this season was just a fucking train wreck. I mean, for the talent you guys had, there was a lot of clubs that wished they had that talent, and you cunts were just playing like fucking dirt. For no reason, because there was instances in so many games that you cunts were actually half all right. But no, you cunts just fucking go out there like idiots. And the Manly game in the rain, Manly against Roosters in the rain at Brookvale was one dagger. But your season was done after that Dogs game. Like I said, the turn swing game was, if they'd beaten Dogs that day, I think Manly would have gone in a completely different direction and been like, all right, we're going to make the 8. Even though they had those losses before, they still had a chance to get out of it by beating Dogs. That game wasn't close, and like your season wasn't close to making the 8, because a lot of ifs can make you there, but you can't just fucking were awful most of the season.
Yeah, they had an awful run. And in the 6th minute of the season when Olakau'atu scored, I was like, holy fuck, who's going to go to... You came on in the review pod, rightfully so, and said there's not one team that should be favoured in Manly. And towards the end of the season, God knows who was being favourites there. Dolphins with no one, for God's sake. And what's your favourite thing in the sport? And what makes you adore a team?
Offense.
A team that can fucking put points on the board when they need to, right?
All of a sudden.
You motherfuckers going to Titans and scoring 8 with all your players.
Yeah.
Going to Knights and going scoreless in the second half with all your players. With Manly, by the time that Olakau'atu and Paseka and Jake Trbojevic and all these players got injured, I don't mind you cunts losing 36-30 because
agree.
your team is not built to defend your way to a fucking premiership. There's nothing good about you cunts defensively. But to go out there against dirt opposition week after week, and even in the games they won, that Tigers game at Brookvale, they won 13 plus and covered for us, and we were like, Manly looked awful.
Yeah.
And that was coming off losing to Knights and Titans. At this point, your season was done. Genuinely went to Melbourne and won for no fucking reason whatsoever. And
For me.
literally for you. Followed that up. Lost 40-4 to a Dogs team that couldn't even score. Lost that Brookvale to a Roosters team that couldn't even score. And what else happened? Just quit on the season, really. And you got raped by Tigers at the end. Like, what the fuck was going on?
I think you brought up a good point. After week 1, I remember we seeing here be like, these cunts are structurally like the best offense in the club.
Yeah.
It's fucked. You can't stop these cunts.
And again, the injuries happened to the forwards, right? But there was multiple weeks they ran out there 1-7 that was the same pricks in week 1 and they couldn't score, which just shows me that there was either a coaching issue, an attitude issue, confidence issue, all of the above. You can't beyond help. And going into next year, all right, you lose Cherry Evans. Is Fogarty an upgrade over him? Probably not. Will
it fix the club? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, but how healthy will Olakau'atu be after a shoulder reconstruction? How healthy can Turbo be throughout an entire season? Has he really been himself since 2021? That was a long time ago now. It's been 4 years. Question marks over Manly. Can they steer the ship in the right direction? Yes, but will they? Is a completely different situation.
They need Madge. I think a lot of
as far as one of the worst rated teams in my opinion for this, what I expected out of them this season.
What?
Legit just gave D. Like, how many other teams get a D? They're awful.
You haven't got to them yet.
We can get to the Ds, but we can move on to one of your teams. Show us your undies. Are they gold and blue? Because Seabass, I bet you are watching, my friend.
We didn't get to Dragons are not there yet.
You don't know where Dragons finished. Because, again, they're in contention. I'm sitting here being like, all right, shout out to the Zerfos brothers. Shout out to the Zerfos brothers. But there's fucking 10 more teams in front of us. The Parramatta Eels had the season from hell up until the saviour came back in the last 7 rounds and saved these cunts and gave the fan base hope. And in a tumultuous year that ended up with a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, I gave the Eels a C+. I gave the MVP to be Isaiah Iongai because from start to finish, he was the most productive player for this team. And big shoes to fill as far as Clint Gutherson goes, but he showed he's worthy of that number 1 jersey.
Please tell me. Please tell me.
LVP, I went with the trader himself, Dylan Brown. Awful 5'8", awful centre, awful player from start to finish. But Knights got him, all good. Best win, Brisbane in Brisbane, the 1 week Moses decided to wake up. That's my notes. Worst loss, week 1. You can't go out there and concede 56 points in week 1. True. What stood out to me? Took a while to get going, but once Moses came back, they were competitive against the big dogs and they were blowing out the bums. I was very critical of Jason Riles for many points of this season, but up until about the halfway mark, they looked like, what was the point of getting rid of Brad Arthur? But they looked like a different iteration of what we've seen from Para for the last 10 years. And shout out to Rilesy, you had a great year. They finished the season 11-13 against the spread. Before Mitch Moses came back, these guys were 6-13 against the spread. So when Moses comes back, they cover the spread 5 games in a row, besides giving up the Souths. And there is a lot of optimism around this club heading into next year. What is your letter grade for the Parramatta Seals, Chrissy?
I'm going to go B- just because their start was so bad and essentially reliance on one player. MVP, I love to say Alangi, but I have to say Mitch Moses, the only player with a pulse on this team at some points, and he fucking saved them. LVP, Dylan Brown.
Awful centre.
Fucking, where the fuck are you going? Fuck me.
To save Knights.
No, can't save anything. Most impressive win... Was it the Brisbane one or the Roosters one? The Roosters one. The Roosters one. Where the team was shown to be the greatest team ever. Touted like fucking Raiders. They just went to Bankwest and literally destroyed them.
Yeah.
Most loss. I'm going to say that South game because...
Yeah, why, boys?
Why? And I'll get to it. Like, one of the hottest teams going into the end of the season. Like...
How can you beat South?
Don't worry. Regardless of that South, on either side of that South game, we saw a Para team competing with beating the premiers at Suncorp and competing with literally anyone in front of them. And what they did tonight wasn't even like that. Shouldn't have been shown on TV. That's 18+ rated. What they did tonight.
You can find that on other websites.
You'll find that on other websites. What Mitch did, especially his run from fucking his own half. That doesn't happen.
There could be a 6-week compilation of what things have done tonight that end up 18+.
True. But this team, look, things that done tonight's like you said, but this team is 11th. We're talking about the 11th best team in the competition. They did not play like that towards the end. Everyone that hates them just hates them because they don't want to see them succeed. They were brilliant towards the end of the year. And like I said before, how you're saying Dolphins are the best case. The second base is the team I'm talking about right now. Any team with Mitch Moses playing the whole year, and we said this right at the start, if you have Mitch Moses, Dylan Brown playing your whole season together, you're going to make the 8. Eventually it turned into, you don't even need Dylan Brown. As long as you have Mitch Moses playing there the whole season, you'll make the 8. And based off your stats, most likely they might have made it. They might have been in front of Roosters. That Roosters game could have been the swing of who makes the 8, who doesn't, and they would have made it playing Knights like Knights in the last game. So it's Knights. And look, they only have a way to go up. This is Moses' team. Who they get is obviously huge. They need a 5'8". It seems like it's going to be Jonah Peasant. Big signing for Para.
That'll be huge.
Like they've got a young spine led by Moses. What else can you fucking ask for from a team? 3 players that are under 23s. They're all up-and-coming stars, and you've got them all in your spine positions who have got a year's rep, and you've got maybe the best halfback in New South Wales on the team to help them out. It's a perfect scenario. They get Jack DeBellin as well from Dragons because they're fucking morons. And at the end of the day, for an aging forward pack, they played well through the middle towards the end of the year. All the new players that came in, Dylan Walker looks like a fucking warrior.
Andrew Tate, Jack Williams played
well. They all played good towards the end of the year. They've all actually had a great season, and the backline is already star-studded. I've heard today that Josh Adokar got a fucking call up to Kangaroos. That's how good he was playing towards the end of the year.
He's playing like a kangaroo.
So, look, they have a good backline. They have a young backline. If they get Peasant to fill that last spot, who knows? Moses plays there the whole year. They will make the 8 next year. They're just that sort of team. It's going to be hard to make the 8 next year based on shitter teams like this team moving up higher, and the teams that are already in the 8 where, Warriors with Metcalf, Raiders are still going to be okay, and everyone else is going to be the same fucking shit. So you're going to knock one of them off. But this Para team has a lot of upside, and really the end of the year was fantastic. And that's why, bro, the fact that they're finished literally behind Manly is without Moses for 6 weeks. That's fucked.
I suppose the question marks coming into the year was, what will the team look like under the new identity of my boy Riles? Because that was a big question mark after
What happened?
a regime of Brad Arthur where they played for him for a long time, gave up on him, and then gave up on the cunt that replaced him at the end of last year. And at the start of the season, they were giving up, all right. Fuck me, they looked awful. 34-6 to Tigers, 56-16 to Melbourne. And it was like, this team is beyond Turbo's help. But slowly but surely, I'm going to put a check in the Jason Riles box. He looks like he has turned the club around. And they did form an identity towards the end of the season. What would they get from the fullback position and the hooking position from Riley Smith and Isaiah Yongai? Arguably two of the most impressive up-and-coming young stars of the competition. Those positions should be filled for the next 10 years for these cunts of, okay, at least we have these two sorted out. Can Mitch Moses steer the ship as a lone wolf now that Gutho as the captain is no longer there? Oh, he can steer the ship all right. Yeah. Fuck me. I mean, okay. In the hierarchy of how important a player is to their team, we have Cleary at Penrith. We have Walsh in Brisbane.
Moses.
Is Moses even more important for Para than those two cunts are? Because if you take Walsh out of Brisbane, they probably still make the 8, but they just look like dirt. If you take Cleary out of Penrith, it's arguable like where they would finish. If you take
Para come last.
we saw Para without Moses.
They were last.
I'm genuinely convinced had he had not come back at some point in the season, these cunts would be below Knights, which is something new altogether, being below them. So for those reasons, having dual bags, like the whole fiasco with him, should he play, should he not play? When he plays, he sucks anyway. Not having Mitch, but I guess at the start of the season when they were playing they were breeding players that, when I was screaming at them week after week, you were saying that, hey, bro, like at least they're fucking blooding these players that will be better towards the end of the season. And they were. Jack Williams, Katoga, Riles himself ran out there a few times. And look, they did really improve. Can I now sit on them and be like, fuck, they'd make the 8 if Moses was there the whole year? Do I think they were actually better than anyone in the 8? No.
Dogs?
No.
Well, okay.
Across the entirety of the year, definitely
No.
not.
Across at the end, who would have won again?
Oh, Para for sure. But that's more because
who would have won between them and Warriors?
Para for sure. But if Metcalf and Barnett played, I'd probably go
I'll
Warriors.
go Warriors. I agree.
If Dogs had a pulse in the side of their building, I'd probably go Dogs. But a lot of it also in my mind, like towards the end, Para were one of the few cunts that were still trying every week. Like they did get some advantage of teams just not giving a fuck towards the end of the year because they had mailed in it on the season. But for those reasons, Para, they do have an optimistic future. You went A, I went C+.
B+.
B+. And for them to finish 11th from where they were before Mitch returned is impressive in and of itself that we still haven't...
Unimpressive of the next team.
That we still haven't spoken about Dragons. And that's still going to continue because, yeehaw!
Oh, my God.
We move on to the mighty Cowboys, the team that conceded over 700 points in this premiership season, finishing in the 12th position. The fact that 5 teams were worse than this team truly keeps me up at night. And my letter grade rating for this team is a D+.
For what?
Because at least they can score. But that's pretty much all they have going for them.
That's it.
Yeah, the teams that have a worse grade than them can't even score, which tells you what you need to know. MVP Tom Dearden. There was also an argument in my eyes of Dearden being the Dally M halfback of the year because he's truly running out with inbreds week in after week out. LVP, I went with Nanai. In a side that went to Manly and gave up, went to Sharks and gave up. The answer of Todd Payton was Nanai's a problem. Fuck this guy. I'm going to drop him.
You missed one. I have to pick the other guy.
Yeah, I'll let you illustrate that one. Best win. There wasn't many, to be honest.
The Raiders one.
I went Tigers at Leichhardt because at this point Tigers were actually playing good. They scored the 2005 flick pass try before halftime, and then again the reason you get a D+ was your offense was good enough that you could actually beat Tigers in 5 minutes of trying, which says a lot about Tigers. Worst loss.
Which one?
58-4 to Dolphins. I mean, come on, boys.
Yeah.
58? Fucking hell. What stood out? Great attacking weapons with the ability to score, but zero desire to defend or work hard as a team when the going gets tough within games. A record against the spread. For a team that came 13th and conceded over 700 points, They were 13-11 against the spread.
Because they kept scoring.
Because they kept fucking winning by 6 and losing by 60. What's your letter grade for the Cowboys?
E. Because you cunts were supposed to make... What happened? I thought everyone had them in the 8.
Were they the biggest drop-off of a top 8 team from last year?
God-awful team. Shit-house team. They finished 5th.
Last year, yeah.
And they finished 12th. With pretty much the same players. Minus no one. They literally had the same team.
They're awful team.
Anyway, MVP did, and it's not even a fuck. Actually, no, I'm gonna say Drinkwater because
you like him, yeah.
Fuck it, I like him. LVP, you missed him, mate. I actually feel like you should take it over me.
The center.
Labour.
Yeah. But the only reason I didn't say him is because he's coming off a torn ACL, so I gave him some respite.
It doesn't mean he keeps starting.
It could be a 3-way tie between him, Vilea, and Burns. Like, you could give it to any of them. Anyone in the Cowboys backline. There you go. Talma, low, all right? Fuck me, he was low. I went Nana, he was awful.
Win? Yeah, Nana. Tigers, obviously, to come back from that point. The biggest loss.
Which one?
Which one do we start with?
Sharks.
Yeah.
Manly week 1.
Manly week 1, bro. From where Manly finished, week 1 was bad. Manly week 1. All right, Cowboys, like...
Oh, fuck. Did I say Tigers?
Yeah.
Sorry, their best win was probably Penrith. When they went to Bankwest and beat them.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, they drew.
No, they drew the second time. They beat them the first time.
No, fuck it, Tigers. They beat the 2005 team.
Yeah.
We'll get to them soon. I don't think Dragons are next. I think it's Tigers. Anyway, Cowboys, like... For loyal... Look, if you're watching this podcast for the first time, you're not going to get the true, like, spirit of how much we despise this team. You have to go through the games, especially when they lose.
When they play Sharks.
And find their, like, those podcasts. Because, like, I'm kind of, like, tired of beating on this team.
Same.
Because, like, we know they're shit.
They're low-hanging fruit.
And, like, it's not even fun. I'd rather get to Dragons.
And scream at them, yeah.
And scream at them. But Cowboys, truly, like, where do you go from here? And only way you guys are going is lower.
Truly, of the 17 teams, I think they're ones with the least amount of hope for next year.
There's nothing left. It's Dearden and Drinkwater or bust. Like, aging pack, losing Robson, getting Reed. Like,
that's hilarious.
Like, it's just a fucking train wreck of a team.
Can Reed instill some grit into this team of fucking quitters?
It's not possible. I actually don't even think, like, Todd Payton's a bad coach. I don't think what he does is incorrect. It's just...
They just don't give a fuck. They don't care.
It's just fucked. It's fucked. Yeah. And from the team that went to the prelim final, hosted the prelim final against Para, this is like a shell. Not even a shell. It's a crack. It's like a bit of it. Like, nothing compared to that. Yes, I agree they're able to score, but we can say that about two more... every Queensland team can score. It's just their innate ability to score garbage. Cowboys in particular up there. But it is through Drinkwater and Dearden. Look, they're Origin rep level players, and they've both played absolutely lights out for this team and essentially keep this team alive. Defensively, like, worse than Dolphins. Probably the worst defense in the comp outside of Knights.
Yeah.
At least Titans try.
Yeah.
These kinds, like, I think if they try...
No, Titans.
But I actually... I don't like is because Titans and Knights are truly just awful, right? Cowboys just don't try.
Yeah.
That's what is the most infuriating to be a Cowboys fan, is that I think they can defend. We see it in Origin they can defend. They all play for Queensland and defend perfectly fine. Robson gets picked for his defense. As soon as he gets on the field with a Cowboys jersey, it turns into me playing defensively. It's awful. And that's what is the biggest problem with Cowboys, in my opinion. Like, it's the same garbage every year.
That's the issue in and of itself.
And, it's just the same shit on and on and on and
because
on.
Because you know, this is 3 years in a row. Even when they made the 8 last year, these cunts couldn't defend, right? Yeah. So, heading into every preseason, Todd Payton's showing them film of when they made the prelim and they made the top 4.
And you watched that Manly game.
We made it on the back of our defense, our grit. We had players like Gilbert and all these sort of guys wearing their heart on their sleeve. And as soon as the season starts, you're like, fuck.
We play Manly.
Fuck, Olakawati's coming. It's really hard. Fuck, Fanua Blake's coming. What are we going to do? Fuck. Grace Walsh.
Oh, yeah, that Sharks game has to be up there. Because, they came from Vegas and these guys just, didn't care.
To quit to Sharks, yeah.
Yeah,
after quitting to Manly, they quit to Sharks on top of it. It was incredible. I give their offense praise because they can manufacture points when they need it. a lot. Like, I think even better than the other Queensland
I
side.
think you've forgotten how bad they are because we missed another week of them.
They've been in Bali 5 weeks earlier than everyone else. They're awful side.
They're just a shit team with no future.
Yeah. No one's helping.
No
these
one's
cunts, yeah.
helping them. There's nothing to look forward to next year. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
Like the only way is lower.
I'm not even sure that like Dearden and Drinkwater can play any better. Like
Yeah.
they're 10 out of 10 in attack every single week, and on top of it, like who even plays in the halves with Dearden? Dufty.
Purdue.
Oh, Purdue's like he's really good.
Or Clifford.
Just lost causes. This team.
Maybe they
Awful
put
team.
Marnie there.
Sure. Put Nanai there. Just a lost case of a team, really.
It's
And
not Dragons, is it?
we're not even close to Dragons.
It's
Because-
close. There's only 4 teams left.
The mighty West Tigers,
them.
our team. Shout out to you, Harry. I know you're watching as always,
Shout out
mate.
to
You've
Charlie. I like
been Charlie, you, me, you. The
Shout
two
out to
Tigers
Galvin.
ambassadors. Shout out to Benji, who you've probably seen at the cast recently, celebrating coming 13th. What a season! What a run from the Tigers. Letter grade, I gave them a C for bang on mid because that's what they were. MVP, hard to go past Terrell May. He was arguably, in my opinion, should have been a Dally M prop of the year instead of Fanua Blake. From start to finish, he was fantastic.
LVP.
And he
is
got busy.
obviously Fucking Walter.
LVP, I could have gone him, but I didn't because of his intangibles. So I went with Royce Hunt. Was signed as an impact forward and was an awful player for this team.
Yeah.
Best win, I went with Sharks and Golden Point at Light Chart
Yeah.
because they took a big scalp off and it looked like they were in ascension. Worst loss, 66-0 to Melbourne. What was the point of you guys even going to the stadium? What stood out to me, decent start and end to the season, but the 6-game losing streak around when the Galvin saga began really fucked their hopes of doing anything
100%.
impressive. And once he went down, they had no real replacement for him. Running out Latu and Heath and Adam Dewey at random points of the season just
It
looked like a
turned
lost
down as
case.
well.
Yeah, well, he was a man possessed, but just wasn't good enough in the end. Record against the spread, 11-13, so you weren't even profitable. Letter grade rating for the Tigers as the Tigers ambassador.
C+. They didn't come last, so I have to give them a little bit more.
You're proud of them.
I'm proud of them. But
MVP? Poor.
Nah, JB will hate me. Has to be Terrell May. Like, it wasn't even... Actually, no.
Taylor May.
Taylor May.
For 2 games.
Yeah. At least he gave him hope. Like, the edge actually looked dangerous when he was there.
You could say Taruva. He was pretty good.
No, Taylor May. LVP, Tigers management. Fuck them. You fucked our entire fucking future.
Was it their fault?
Throw them the bag, you shit cunts.
He did. They did.
Yeah. We want him
He
back.
said no to the bag.
We want him back. Dogs don't want him. They love Sexton. They don't want him. Bring him back. Actually, whatever happened in that saga, that's the LVP of the season for Tigers. 100%.
The off-field drama.
The off-field drama.
You're not going to give it to Benji, who you think sucks as a
Nah, I
coach?
like Benji.
You like
Win of the season, Dogs. The Horde. That
Horde
was
game,
great because you guys had Naden and won.
Yeah. That's tough to do.
And the loss of the season,
The Cowboys one was pretty bad.
Cowboys won. Nah, Melbourne. You can't lose 66-0 and get
At least
me
score.
At least score one. Encapsulated the season.
Oh, what about the Knights one in week 1?
Nah, they're shit. Tigers, like,
Can't lose the Knights.
we sat here and said so many times, beating the drum, they have a top 5, top 8 spine. It all fell apart very quickly. You guys started fucking shit, as per usual. Losing week 1 with all the hope and all the praise and all the... You know, we got Terrell May and he played possessed and etc. Started the same garbage as you guys always do. Then it started to pick up a little bit.
They were the best defense
They
in
were
the
the
league.
best defense. They all of a sudden couldn't let anyone score. And then the off-field drama happened. And that game that Galvin got dropped for New South Wales Cup was truly the worst.
Who did they
perform-
play? Para?
Yeah.
And they couldn't score.
And they lost to fucking no one.
Jesus Christ.
And they could not score a try at all.
Yeah.
And then the fucking balls of this team to go put him in the week after and then win. Just like stupidity after stupidity. And again, shit clubs with shit management, just gonna shit like this is gonna happen. And that saga essentially fucked the whole first half of the season with everything happening with Galvin, and then he's going to Dogs and he's gonna get dropped and a billion things happen. come the middle of the season, around Origin period, much better from Tigers. Much better. They looked better. They looked like they wanted to be there. Finer was finally doing something. And then
Taylor May came to the club.
Then Taylor May came to the club, and they kept playing better, and they went to that next level. They beat Dogs, the Horde game. Dogs were in free fall at that point, but still, like, the fact they beat the top 2 side is nuts. And then the same back to Tigers. Like, the Cowboys game is a classic Tigers loss, and I can't really say anything else because it's the same fucking garbage. Again, are they taking steps forward? We're not going to come last. We're going to move forward. Sure. But are they anything near to make the 8 and be close? No. Do they have years of growing to come? Yes. But do I think it's going to be next year or anytime soon? Not unless they get fucking Tino or some shit. Like, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Luai, I feel like he played a bit better towards the end of the season. I know you're crazy praying man will not agree with that. But I feel like he wanted to be the leader, and it took a whole, 20 games.
He's not the legitimate leader.
It took him 20 games to get that instilled into the team. MVP, I know we said fucking Taylor May. Scratch that. It's always Coruscant, always will be for these cunts, because without him, they're awful. Awful team.
Yep.
So, look, they had an up and down season. They didn't come last. They're slowly improving, and that's all I'm going to give them.
I might get some hate for this,
Look,
but to me, Tigers are the least interesting team in the NRL. There's just nothing that intrigues me about them.
What Cowboys?
No, they're interesting as to how shit they are.
Yeah, but
and how much they can go and give up in a week. For Tigers, it's okay, it's going to compete. I know you're going to somehow not make the 8. You're going to win a game or 2 here or there. That's going to give cunts hope, and you're going to sign a big name player that's going to play shitter than what he has at his previous club. Sure.
Can we get the 3rd, mate?
Okay, fantastic. You didn't win a wooden spoon and you came 13th. Was it impressive?
Yeah.
No. Was
They've
it
improved.
Was it impressive? Not really. Was it disappointing? Not really. You want credit for beating Titans by 1 at Leichhardt? I'm not going to give it to you. Should you have fucking beaten Cowboys at Leichhardt? Yeah, but you didn't.
They also lost the last game at Titans, which was led them
but
make a mask.
At that point of the season, who cares?
But it's Tigers. That's what they do.
I think the one that was the dagger in their eye socket was when Galvin dropped it against Souths and they lost by 2. Where it's fucking hell. That's when the losing streak started, and they're just running out dirt at that point. Is anyone in this competition scared of them for next year?
No.
And that's what it really boils down to. Okay, sure, you guys were awful when you had no players. You signed Luai and Coruscant and Terrell May, and they all end up being awesome, and still, no one's scared of you. And
no one's scared of you, I agree.
That's all I can really say about this team. They had a decent... as far as expectations versus reality, I had them maybe 12th or 13th. They came 12th or 13th. Who gives a shit?
Oh, God. Dragons?
No.
Yeah. South.
Glory to South Sydney.
The 4 shit cunts at the bottom.
Yeah, they're one of the 4. The season from hell for the South Sydney Rabbitohs was essentially their defining moment of 2025. For their letter grade, I went incomplete, because how can you even judge this team considering what went on throughout the season for these guys? MVP, obviously, Jai Gray. This times 3 because there's 3 of him on the field. And to play Latrell out of the fullback jersey, you got to be doing something well. And he epitomizes the word trying if you look it up in the dictionary. LVP, I had 2 candidates. Number 1 could have been the injury gods, because have they ever hated a team more than this South team? Their casualty ward was sickening throughout points of this season. Before a ball was even kicked, it was sickening. Fuck me. But the funny thing to do would be, he's the only player that's won this award back-to-back seasons for a club. Who have I been screaming out from South for the last 2 years? Wyden. You were signed as the missing piece for this team from Raiders, and
Raiders have done better.
You actually look more like a Raven the way you're playing right now. I mean, you have been awful. Best win, round 10 against Broncos, was truly
comedy.
Theatre comedy, where Latrell did the 2-point field goal and didn't celebrate, and then tackled Haas on the try line, smashed the shit out of Stags on the try line, and then at the very end, when they played the ball on the Broncos try line, scooted when no one thought the game was still going and celebrated like he won the comp. Worst loss was easily... Okay, this was an interesting one because I can't scream at them for many losses, but to me,
The one when they brought everyone back.
the one where they brought everyone back and lost the Dolphins 50-28
Or the
pissed me
last
off the
round.
most. Nah, because they went to Bali and came back, right? The Dolphins one was, oh, okay, everyone's finally back. This is the moment we've been waiting for. And they just went out and it was 30-0. And I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
You may as well run out like Ibi and Co on the wings.
Yeah.
What stood out most? Probably the most injured team of my lifetime. Never had a chance right from the preseason to the end. Aging roster with a premiership window that's probably closed was my comments. Record against the spread, hilariously, they were 14-10 because they kept covering.
Yeah, well, they kept covering at the start of the year.
Yeah, and they fucked me. They were not covering at the end of the year.
I'm gonna give him a smack bang C. Too many injuries, but they still had the heart. My MVP, I'd love to say Jai Gray as well, but I'm gonna go with Lockie Hubner. What a season he had. Your boy.
What a run.
What a run. He had LVP.
I could have gone Kalama Tungi.
I'm gonna go. No, this guy deserves the biggest L of all. Lewis Dodd.
We didn't even get a chance, really.
No, it doesn't matter. There's a reason why he didn't get a chance. With the fact Jaden Sullivan looked like a player over you is incredible.
Scary.
Most impressive win was their Penrith win. No, the Penrith one, yeah.
Nice.
With
With no one.
The most impressive loss, or least impressive loss.
And they went to Broncos and
Broncos. Yeah, they had a quick job at Broncos, yeah. I was actually gonna add also a notable mention is the 2-point loss to Sharks because they were fucking awesome in that game.
Yeah,
And they just
that was probably the most
for sure.
impressive loss that
for
you could
sure.
have.
Overall, the season, just injuries. Do I think this team is completely written off? No. Like, on paper with everyone?
In what context? Can they go and win a premiership?
Yeah, they can.
Come on.
They're good.
Cody Waters 50.
It's fine. Like, you saw him in glimpses of the game. He can come on and just string anyone apart. Murray not being there until the last game obviously is shit. But any team with Jai Gray going to fullback, still have White, and as much as you fucking say he's shit, he's still a serviceable centre. They have Alex Johnson. They have Latrell most likely going to play centre next year as well because they've got Jai Gray. You can't leave him out of the team. Humphreys, like, he had his star breakout season. Your boy, Dumfries.
The lock of the year.
But also, he was pretty shit in periods. Doesn't have to play lock next year because they have a proper lock.
Humphreys, in my opinion, was the most hyped player that did nothing after round 2.
True. Kulamatangi, like, absolutely broke out to almost being an origin player.
He broke the record amount of
Tries.
Healing potential when he did his
True.
syndesmosis and returned 2 weeks later.
True. And they just have those players that are, like, annoying, like Hy Veely, Brandon Smith, players that are just like, they can be a piece of shit, but they can be great on their day. And South, always under the tutelage of Wayne, can get anywhere. So they just had the season from absolute hell. There was quit jobs in there. That Broncos game, notably one of them. But the thing is, with their quit jobs, they'd always back it up with a good game.
They didn't
And
quit for like a long
They
stretch.
didn't quit for a significant period of time, which is interesting that there's another team in there, which I'm going to say the same shit of, but they finished below them somehow. But overall, I don't think it was a terrible season for South. They really did give it a crack with whatever they had, and I don't think they're written off. I still think they're going to have a good year next year, much better than this one. As long as Wayne's there, and they have Murray and Walker and Latrell, they're going to have a good year.
I agree with you, but considering the age of the roster, this was a very bad year for you guys
Yeah, of
to
course.
be like completely have no chance in any capacity, which was disappointing. I really thought Souths would be in the mix at some stages, and the emergence of Jai Gray and other players throughout the season will help them going forward. But I mean, they're too injury prone. Like,
Yeah, they will all get injured.
to have. Okay, Cam Murray's one was a freak injury, but can I confidently say that Cody Walker and Latrell and if Jai Arrow, who's 50, can make it through an entire 24-round grind of a regular season, and what Latrell's going to go play Origin on top of it and not have a hamstring tweak or a calf tweak here and there. Unfortunately, that's just been the story of this team for the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens, but considering where they finished on the ladder, I don't think that tells the full story for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and
Here we go.
that might also be the case for... We can finally do our shout-out of the Zerafos brothers. We hope you boys are watching as always, and you have been waiting for this review podcast of your team. And it is a very loyal fan base up in Cogra that they're very passionate about their team and their halfback in particular. But it was the season touted that they were wooden spoon favourites. Retirement Village was comments that we made on the preseason podcast of, if you are under the age of 32, you are not being signed by this club. And that was supposed to change the direction of this particular season as far as how things turn around. And it did for a little while until it didn't. And when it didn't, I mean, wow. Incredible. Letter grade, considering they came 15th, I gave him a C-. MVP, I went Gutho because...
Without him.
Wire to wire, I mean, without him, where would they have been? He was awesome. LVP, I went with Ilias because how can you relinquish your spot to King Tonga with a straight face? And all you do is fucking run out there making TikToks. Wake up to yourself. Best win, when they went to Suncorp and won with no players.
Obviously, mine's right.
Worst loss, this is right up there with all the losses of all time. Round 2 when they lost to South. What the fuck were you boys doing?
Bad.
Jesus Christ. What stood out, highly injured, put maximum effort in under Flanagan, play up to their competition and down to their competition, lack game-changing halves. Record against the spread 13-11 for what it's worth. Your breakdown on letter grading for this.
Letter grading, C- as well. MVP, Gutho. LVP, King Tonga. Actually, no. King Tonga. Who's shit.
Funniest player, Tui Pelotu.
Buddy Man, of course, gets a shout out on this podcast. Best win, Raiders. Like, it's not even close. For no reason, you guys won. For me. Worst loss, round 2. Is there any other ones? There's so many. Actually, they don't deserve that many. That South one. Because, like...
Which South one? The 40-0 or the 25-24?
The 40-0.
No, but they're just so tired.
No, 40-0.
They had nothing.
No, because everyone believed in them. Except for me.
No one believed in them. They had the 4 concussions.
They will pick them.
You want South to lay 4.5?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm telling you, the first time they lost to South was unforgivable.
That was when South were good. Dragons, like, I actually can't believe you finished this low. Like, you beat Raiders...
Melbourne.
You beat Melbourne and you beat Broncos.
Brisbane, yeah. 3 of the top 4 they beat.
And you beat Sharks.
You morons.
You beat Warriors.
They didn't. They lost by 1 and they lost by 2.
Players. Yeah, with no players. They didn't beat Roosters, did they?
Should have beat Dogs. Should have beat Warriors.
Should have beat Warriors. They didn't beat Roosters.
They lost to them essentially by 1.
Yeah.
But, But then you look harder, right? And it's like, all right, you gave Souths their first... You gave Souths a 1-point win. You gave Para their first win. You gave Para their first win. You know?
Yeah, it's obvious. Like, you look into it deeper and you're like, oh, those games are huge. How did they win that? Wait, they finished 15th. How the fuck's that possible? Yeah, it's Dragons. It's just plain old Dragons.
You gave Cowboys a win.
You're giving Cowboys any wins.
You lost to Tigers.
It's incredible. Like, the fact that it's the same shit, right? But they have hope. In my opinion. Like, Atkinson's coming. Or you think they're done?
There's nothing good about this.
But they're Flanagan, like, he's a good coach.
I know. He can't go out there and play.
Look, without Gutho, and he doesn't have many years left, if it's 1 or more, they need a fucking solution.
Okay.
They're so bad when it becomes particular periods.
And conveniently for them, Gutho was healthy the whole season.
Yeah, that one happened.
When Gutho and Val eventually retire in the next couple of years, what is the outlook for this club? King Tonga.
And they have Sloan. And they have Atkinson.
The greatest compliment I can give them is...
Thanks for hanging in there.
Irrespective of the fact that you run out dirt week after week...
They try.
You don't look like dirt most rounds.
Correct.
But that's as far as it goes for me. I mean... They're up there with Cowboys and Myers as hopeless teams moving forward. At least Cowboys have, like, a pillar of their franchise with Dearden.
Yeah, but, like...
What the fuck do Dragons have King Tonga?
They're Flanagan, the coach and the player. They have Sua. Look, there were patches through the game. There is also, like, some of the young forwards who played gun throughout this year that they will also be getting to add to this team. And who knows? Like, maybe Jonah Peasant doesn't go to Para. I mean, I wouldn't think he's going to go to Dragons, but... Over playing next to Moses.
Why would you when you have King Tonga?
But yeah, they still have pieces that everyone would like, but it's just stringing those games in a row and winning them is just something you can't do. And you can have a one-off and play for Flanagan and win games like Melbourne, win games like Raiders, win games like Brisbane, but there's periods of the season that you can't just asleep, literally asleep, and it's like,
But
what the fuck?
it really bothers me that they sleep against teams that they can actually easily beat.
Yeah, but it's Dragons.
Why do you beat Melbourne Sharks? You lose to the Dogs by 2, Warriors by 1, Roosters by 4, and then it's like, oh fuck, we're playing Tigers. We can't beat them.
Who's that shaking?
Like, it's just stupid from Dragons.
It's Dragons.
They're better than that.
It's Dragons. The Zerafrost brothers listening to this have known this for decades as to how bad this team is when it matters most.
Just.
But they never degrade themselves to the bottom 2 teams.
Yeah, but they end up like third last.
Yeah,
After being ninth the whole year, they end up third
Yeah,
last.
but the bottom 2, like their own tier.
Like when they went to Brisbane and won, I'm pretty sure they were ahead of Broncos.
They were.
And then you blink and you're like, wait,
Why
we're
they
doing this review. Why hasn't he said Dragons yet?
Yeah, why?
Oh, fuck, they finished 15th.
How? They're incredible.
They lost to Souths twice, for God's sake.
What they lose to in the last game?
Penrith when they tried,
that doesn't count.
No, it was the 40 North to South. So I was like, fuck
that
it.
was when they gave up on their season. After that Warriors game where they'd lost in a war.
Yeah, but they went on such a covering rampage.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
Remember when I kept taking them and they kept covering?
I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. If anything, the tunnel's getting darker and darker.
Nah, it's getting lighter. There's always somewhere.
There's no light with King Tonga.
Are they going to start King Tonga and Atkinson next year? I have no words.
I'd keep Flano. I think Carl Flanagan's one of the most
gets a lot of hate for
overhated players.
Yeah.
And that YouTuber, the influencer cunt, that
destroys Flanagan.
his entire page is made for bagging out Flanagan is just like, he's half of the problem.
Yeah.
This cunt actually plays fine for them week in, week out. Where's the real view screaming at King Tonga, who's awful?
He's worse, bro.
You know?
And he's won 3 games, bro.
Fucking
Not
wake
many
up,
teams
cunt.
beat Raiders, Melbourne, and Brisbane.
Yeah, I know. And then, like, instead of basking in the moment of, you know what, my team went and beat Canberra and stopped them from 10-peating. My team went and beat Melbourne. You cunts immediately the week after start yelling at Dragons for losing to...
It's Dragons.
What do you want from them? To win 10 games in a row?
Dragons.
They're running out King Tonga. Have a bit of like a
I feel
realistic...
like you need to change your LVP to King Tonga as well.
No, but he's like not supposed to be good.
That doesn't mean like...
Whereas,
that's okay.
who did I put? Ilias, like...
No,
Ilias is the reason King Tonga is there. That's why he's there. Get off TikTok.
Alright, sure.
All right, this is where it gets go.
This is where the two teams
This is
could
this is
match.
where our YouTube analytics does this.
So hello, welcome.
Because we are talking about the worst team in the league that didn't finish last. The Gold Coast Titans had a despicable season in 2025, and there's no other letter grade to give this team than an F.
Yeah.
They were awful from start to finish. MVP, I went with Jaden Campbell because he was one of the only pulses in this pulseless team. LVP, I went everybody not named Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson, which I feel is appropriate.
Kinney.
Because from start to finish,
Kinney.
they were all despicable, including Kinney, who wasn't even out there. Best win, Manly in Origin round. Worst loss, Cowboys, 18-6 turned into 50-18, which is hard to do. What stood out? Trainwreck Club finally got a well-respected coach and showed a lack of desire or care of their own performances. The least injured of the awful sides, no excuses, despicable club. Record against the spread 9-15, so you can't do it even covering. From start to finish, awful.
Yeah. Look, letter grade F minus if that's a thing. Awful. MVP, I'm gonna give it to. I'll give it to Jaden Campbell because I'm gonna give it to Foreign to have to play with these bums at his age. LVP. I should say the whole Titans team, but no, I'm gonna do David Fafita because fuck this cunt. Most impressive win. Truly winning in the last round really made me giggle because I knew Knights were going to lose.
Yeah.
And most valuable loss, right? We'll count which one?
All of them.
All of them. Actually, you know what? The 2 losses to Knights.
No,
Because you gave them.
no, they beat Knights twice.
Oh no! Oh yeah, Knights lost them twice. Sorry, yeah. One of them, Cowboys, fucking Tigers. You name them. You've lost some fucking dumb games. Oh, actually no. The one that you went full strength to Sharks and lost 500 nil. That was bad.
I knew you'd say that, so I left it for you.
All right.
What stood out about this season?
What stood out? What did?
They stood out like a sore thumb. In a league of mid teams, they were the ones stand out.
They're literally the Tennessee Titans of this.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
They're so bad until they win one, and like the sheer fact, like so many points in the season that they just didn't have any injuries and went out there and played like idiots, like was just fucking insane.
Back-to-back years, they've played better with less players.
Like, what the hell?
But-
They shouldn't be allowed to have $1 million player. I'm telling you. I said this before. They shouldn't be allowed to sign $1 million players because, like, once they go there, they play like bums. And they all played like bums. Who wouldn't wish for half this team to be on their roster? I know Dragons would. They have to start King Tonga. Come on.
Shane Flanagan would give his kidney up for Tino and his liver up for Jaden Campbell.
And yet alone Kinney, yet alone even Sami, even fucking Brian Kelly's better than fucking any of their centers. Like, come on, Titans, come on.
This was their season. Started off with a bye.
Yeah, gave up.
Got dismantled by Dogs at Belmore.
Beat Knights.
They beat Knights 26-6. They beat Roosters 30-12.
That's when everyone thought they were good.
So at this point, they're probably in the 8. They're 2-1 with a bye. This is what they followed it up by. 36-10. I'm actually going to go through every single game for the rest of the year because that will tell the whole story. 36-10 to a winless Dolphins team. 38-16 to King Tonga-led Dragons. 30-20 to Raiders, where they led by 10. The 18-6 to 18-60 game to Cowboys. 18-38 to a Dogs team that didn't try. 24-20 to Knights, which was one of their last wins. 40-24 to Raiders. 28-16 to Melbourne. 44-14 to a Broncos team that couldn't even score. 28-8 to Manly. 36-20 to a Para team that Titans were favoured in Bank West. 30-24 to what was left of Cowboys. 26-14 to Broncos. 21-20 to Tigers. 24-16 they beat Warriors for you.
Gave up.
30-26 to the Penrith trainer. 20-18 to a South team that
Had nothing. Just
Titans ran out of 6.5 point favourites in. 54-22 when Tino came back at Shark Park.
That was the worst.
18-32 in a game that they were picking against Warriors who couldn't score. 36-30 to Dolphins. 36-28 victory against Tigers. So very commonly it was
30, except against them 90% of the time.
as often as you wake up to go to your 9-to-5 job, these guys go out there and concede 30 points, which is just shouldn't happen in professional sport. And teams that go out and concede 30 week after week, the common theme of them was, oh, they're down the whole forward pack. Oh, they have multiple outside backs missing. Oh, they have no coach. You guys had all those things and just gave up week after week. And truly head-scratching season for you guys. A
lot of people had them in the 8. Like,
I don't think anyone saw them being this horrific.
No, I didn't think they would be this bad.
Come on, bro.
Second year of Dez, they should be able to turn this around. They just go out there and quit every game. Quit is the most best word.
You've come out on record and been like, this club needs to be abolished.
Yeah, they
and
should.
you haven't said that about anyone else.
No,
that's how bad
truly they should be. Like, it's not even a debate at this point. Look at them. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
What do they do next? They have a future, but who knows with this team? They have Jaden Campbell. They have
and they're accumulating talent, right?
They have all this talent, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. This was the worst out of all the years with more talent.
Yeah.
For sure. Kinney only emerged last year. And they started playing good towards the end of the year. Obviously, he got injured. Who knows? I don't think even if he was there, it would have saved them the way they were playing.
Oh, no. What is a fullback to do to save these guys? Fucking hell. Just they were so bad, and there's really not much more to say. So we move on to the Wooden Spooners. I feel like it's appropriate that we go and get a wooden spoon and put it on. Shout out to you, Chris, because under a preseason preview pod where you're giving out futures, you gave out Knights to win the spoon at $9 odds, which is a very good prediction from you to see them come dead last.
Team.
The regime of Adam O'Brien ends in flames.
Regime.
And I'm giving them the letter grade of an F+ because you can't be worse than Titans.
No, yeah, I was going to say E- because you can't be worse than Titans.
Yeah.
Titans were the worst.
I agree. I gave him an F+ because at least you can say that they had injuries. Mm-hmm. My MVP was Fletcher Sharp, the only pulse of a DNA of offense in this club. When he was there, they actually looked respectable. When he wasn't there, they were putrid. LVP, many candidates, but I went Jack Cogger because he was there from start to finish, and they could never score. But Jake Arthur's sample, what Jake Arthur managed to pull off in the 6 weeks of him getting picked was remarkably awful. Best win, comeback versus Manly with no one, which wasn't even impressive in and of itself. Worst loss, with a chance to avoid the wooden spoon, you can't lost 66 to Para.
Yeah.
And just gave up on Adam O'Brien after all he gave. What stood out? Abysmal offense. Completely quit on the season after the Halasima try and were conceding points at a historic rate. New regime with Adam O'Brien reign officially coming to an end and Dylan Brown coming to save the city. Record against the spread 9-15.
9-15.
They were 9-9 when Halsema scored and conceded the last 6 games. Which, before I hand over to you to get your opinion,
You want to look at Cook Islands?
I don't want to gloss over what truly they dished out after the Halsema try. So at this point, they were like,
Okay.
they lose 15-20. Only they could lose 15-20 to a team. They're infamous. They lose by 5.
There it is.
They lost 44-18 to Raiders, 48-12 to Penrith, 38-4 to Cowboys, 46-12 to Brisbane, 40-16 to Sharks, and 66-10 to Para, with a chance to avoid the spoon. In what was a historic run of incompetency.
I don't think we'll ever see that again. Like, just quitting. Straight, we give up. Like, I don't think it's possible.
I'm still of the mindset that they weren't quitting in those games. They quit in the Para one, but
that
before
one
then
quit.
they were trying, in my opinion.
All right, my grade, E-. Anything that's just slightly higher than Titans, because Titans were the worst team this year for sure. Don't at me. Don't at us, I guess. Titans were the worst. Most valuable player, Sharp. It's not even close. Like, best. The only player that gives them life on the edge so they can score. Least valuable player, Jake Arthur. Fuck it. I mean, holy shit, bro. Holy shit. That offense was shit. Most impressive win.
Which one are there for?
I don't know. Pick one.
Well, they started 2-0 and they won 2 more
They won
games.
Dolphins, I guess.
Wow, how impressive.
Yeah, they beat Dolphins. They were all right. They start 2-0 again, and it's just incredible. They literally won 2 of the next 20 games. They're 2 of 22 from that point. That is
Maybe the
insane.
Dolphins game they won, they looked okay.
Yeah. Most impressive loss or least impressive performance, just like giving Titans 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's incredible. You can't lose the Titans twice. Knights are... I don't know what to say about this team. Like, they just gave up. Now, why they rated a little bit higher than Titans is simply because, look, they had injuries. There was just like their main injuries. You lose Kalen, you're screwed. And that's what I said at the start of the season. As soon as you lose Kalen, you're done. And they were done, all right. And not, at least like we know in our hearts, when they're done, like they're done. Those last 5 games after the Halsema game, I'm telling you, we won't see anything like that ever again.
To the
Point that they were like just letting Para walk through, letting Sharks walk through.
Yeah.
Bro, this team needed 1 win to overtake, to keep in front of Titans, and they had 5 opportunities, and it's just a testament to how bad Titans were. If the Halsema thing didn't happen and Titans and Knights had won that game, Titans would have still come last after these cunts had given up.
Titans would have still come last after beating Knights twice.
Yeah.
That's how bad Titans
So
were.
the Halsema try saved the Titans from coming last, even though they're awful. But also flipped the Knights to an absolute quit job of a life. They literally could have went to Bali. That's insane. That if they won that game, they literally could have went to Bali and Titans would have still finished below them.
After the Halsema try, they could have went to Bali the following week and forfeited 15-0 every week. That would have hurt their differential less than them actually going out there and playing. That's how bad they were.
Just
There's a lot of moments of highlights for this team throughout the year
for you.
that stick out for me, yeah.
Yeah, for you. But obviously something dumb they've done.
Lots of things. When they looked like a team possessed against Souths and everyone thought
No,
they would
actually, I'll
against.
start with the preseason. How they thought they were possessed in preseason. Remember that?
They look good, like a new high-powered offense. Fletcher Sharp and Ponga combining to actually give them hope. Them starting 2-0 in hindsight is true comedy. Because I'm pretty sure they led the ladder. Like, if you looked at the screenshot of the ladder, Knights were first. And no one would be prepared for what came from that point in time. Actually, the funniest one was easily when they beat Penrith.
Yeah.
That was great.
With Dylan Lucas scoring 3 tries.
It was awesome.
Wow, that was one of their 4 wins. That's nuts.
Nah, look, the snapshot of that last 6 games was rivals anything I've seen in sport. Like,
yeah, it's unmatchable.
I'm trying to think of worse like runs. Maybe the Philadelphia 76ers this year. Fuck me. With players, I mean, just awful. But look, the reason in actuality that they're not below Titans is Ponga went down, never came back. Best went down, came back, went down again, came back. Dylan Lucas went down, never came back. Fletcher Sharp went down, never came back. they're already a team devoid of the ability to score. And once you take those players out and replace them with, like, they're attributing a lot of fucking money to Kalen and these sort of players already. And once you replace them with Fletcher Hunt, like, oh my God.
Actually, I thought your LVP was going to be him at fullback.
My MVP was almost Gaga at fullback because in that 6-week stretch, he was the only player trying out there. But outside of him, like, I've never seen this in my life.
I don't think we will again.
I don't think we caught on of how bad they were while they were playing that bad.
We were just like, all right, they're giving up. It's all right. But like,
no, but we took them a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, 10.5 in Townsville. They could cover that.
Yeah,
no.
That wasn't... They should have, though.
You said upset that they're going to beat Penrith.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah,
they
but
gave
they
up.
But they lost all of them by 40, which, like, even last week, I was like, I'll take Para 1 to 24. Like, they'll probably try for Adam O'Brien and to knock at this.
They didn't even try for 10 minutes.
I know. It's nuts what they dished out. And
no, it's not actually human.
It's fucking crazy. Like, Knights was so bad. But there needs to be commentary around the rest of their season, in my opinion. You can't, like, we can't sit here and be like, oh, well, they gave up the last 6 rounds. It is what it is. What about when everyone was there and they were awful?
Yeah, well, they couldn't score even with everyone there. That was the big thing. But like, I think a lot of it will attribute to the last 6 weeks. Holy fuck!
It was a historic run and not the type of history you want to be a part of. But look, for the games that Ponga and Sharp were actually there,
they won
after beating Tigers and Dolphins. They beat Dolphins 13+, right? This was
well, they lost the Titans.
Holy fuck, Knights. Okay. 6 points to Titans, 0 to Dogs, 4 to Tigers, 14 to Sharks, 12 to Warriors, 30 to Souths, or what was left of them, 20 to Titans, scoreless in the second half, 6 to Para, 25 to Penrith, 6 to Dragons, 8 to Roosters, 14 to Melbourne.
They can't score 15.
15. Only Knights could score 15 in a game.
And the end
12, 4, 12, 16, 10. Fucking hell. This was a historic collapse from Knights. Like,
well, they have hope next year.
When you look back at Adam O'Brien's run, what do you think about it?
Yeah, he made the finals. He pushed them to another level. He got them to score.
What level?
They went 10 in a row, which 10 is the magic number that no one could hit.
They did what no one else could.
No one did.
Fuck, that was a run and a half.
But look, next year's the year, and I'm glad that they actually like got rid of O'Brien this year because like next year's just like a fresh start. Let's forget what they did in the last 6 weeks. I don't think
I won't forget it.
We won't forget it, but they can. Bring in Dylan Brown. Bring Sharp back.
Bring back Dylan Lucas.
Dylan Lucas is
back.
Peg
it, Lucas.
Well, that's what probably Sharp will do. And they have a fresh slate with fucking... Who's coaching? Some dick.
Dylan Brown's coaching.
Josh Hanoye?
Some moron.
Anyway, No, it's
Holbrook, Hanoye, Blake Green. One of those three.
It's horrible. Horrible.
Maybe you can give them hope.
Nah, I don't.
Look,
he wasn't even hopeful.
Look, when you look at this roster next year, Ponga, Sharp, Best,
Brown,
Lucas. That's
great.
That's your game-changing sort of players. Outside of that, the supplementary pieces I still don't think are bad.
Yeah, you got Gaga.
Zell is a vet. He's decent. They lose Leo Thompson and Pierce Paul and probably replace them with fucking who knows. Adam Elliott comes back. I missed him dearly. Tom Young's there. Marju's there.
It's not bad.
There's no reason for them to come last, you know?
But who knows?
But you just never know with Knights.
No. Last next year's even more difficult. Titans.
Cowboys again.
Titans is like a shoe-in. If they lose Tino especially. Well, they're better without him.
There's always Dragons. One injury to Gutho and fucking hell.
Nah, they have Atchison.
Yeah, we'll see. But Knights, like, historic run and not the type of history you want to be part of. Truly 100%. Concerning. Kept me up at night a few times where I was like...
Did they really lose that game? I still can't believe they lost that last game 66.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the Dolphins scored less.
I think the worst one was the Cowboys one.
Yeah, they just gave up.
Jesus
like that.
Christ.
Yeah, that was fucked.
It was fucking incredible. But anyway, that puts a bow on the season that was 2025. The 3 most standout things of 2025 in your eyes?
Oh, Brisbane number 1. The fact they won a premiership leading 30 minutes of the finals is so impressive. Where Walsh has taken the next step is fucking insane. So shout out to the Brisbane Broncos and all the fans. What a season they had. I'm going to go Warriors. They impressed me a lot. I may have been a hater from the start of the season, but you guys were truly, really good. And I I'm itching to see you guys next year to see if you keep to this level. No excuses next year. You have Metcalf and Barnett. We know what you cunts can do with them. So let's hope that next year is a brand new year. And the final one, which should have been first, to be honest, or second before Warriors, Dogs.
Yeah.
Bro, like, we could talk about Knights having the most historical losses. It's Knights. You can't finish third.
Yeah.
That last game, I don't think anyone can explain to me what happened in that first half, and I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all good. I'll never get over it. That keeps me up at night.
Same.
To see what happened to them in that first half.
In my eyes, that was the most mortifying half of footy played by a side.
Yeah.
Like, with what was on the line, and
100%.
what your reputation was, that's like identity shifting fucking sequence of events, and there's big questions at the club. For me, number one, in a million, gazillion, trillion years, I'd never ever thought Raiders would win the minor premiership. And in a run where, if we look at who's won the minor premiership for the last 10 years, Penrith won it 10 times, Melbourne won it 10 times, that Roosters won it a couple of times, and that's been it, right? For a team to emerge out of nowhere and win it over these sides was incredible. And irrespective of how they went out, the fact that
Dogs almost won it.
The fact that they almost won a lot of things. The fact that they lifted the minor premiership trophy truly was a pleasant surprise for me, and I really lived the season with a good taste.
Shout out to Ricky.
For Ricky and all the players wearing the green and the milk in general, even though it went sour at the end. Number two,
Dogs.
The emergence of halfbacks in this season.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Metcalf, what he did for Warriors, incredible. Izzy Katoa, what he did at the Finns, incredible. Moses, even elevating his own stature of, we knew what he could do at Origin level, but now that Gutho's not there and the entire club is on his shoulders, he's shown that he can carry the club.
Jaden Campbell.
Nathan Cleary, as always, the Iceman is a true magician with the ball in his hand. Jaden Campbell for putting effort in while the Titan jersey is on him is incredible. King Tongia, fucking hell. Fuck me. Those players give me hope going forward. That there's nothing better than watching a good halfback in the peak of his powers, and I feel good sleeping at night knowing that they're going to be running out there for their teams. And it's not just Cleary and Hughes and fucking Moses.
Metcalf.
Yeah, as I said, Metcalf and Izzy Katoa, fantastic seasons. Third and last, that's just...
I just don't understand how you can six straight.
I can't believe Manly's season.
Fair.
They
had a lot of promise.
The way that they went to Melbourne and won, and everyone anointed them after you tipped them as upset alert.
Then they anointed them. That's what pissed me off.
And I was the only motherfucker that came on the podcast and said they're going to give up on the season after this. I tipped...
Yeah, you did.
Where I was like, Melbourne just lost to themselves. They're going to lose to Dogs, they're going to lose to Roosters, they're going to lose to Raiders, they're going to lose to everyone. And they lost to everyone pretty comfortably in the end. And did I take it too far by betting on fucking Dragons against them at the end? Yeah, sure I did, but... For them to just give up on the season, and I saw it unfold week after week, was... I expect more from a team with Cherry Evans and Jake Trbojevic and Turbo.
100%.
What the fuck were you boys doing? That puts a bow on season 2025. Any closing comments from you, mate, or we said enough?
We said enough.
Are
you ready for the Pacific Championships?
Yeah. Honestly, Tonga's team looks great, but no one gives a fuck. So, you guys, if you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a like, a comment, and a subscribe. It has been the end of Back Yourself in 2025 as far as NRL podcasts go. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's going to be 6 months that feels like 6 years not coming into this studio and yapping you guys for your entertainment. But before we know it, I'll be doing a preseason preview pod with my brother from another mother, and I'll be doing lines and betting analysis of preseason week 1 by myself because you're not going to do it with me, but that's all right. I enjoy it.
Preseason lines, yeah.
Give us a like, boys. Chat to you all next year. Peace out.
Peace.